No fanfare this time. No fanfare, not whatsoever. We're just going into it. No fanfare, just right into the live stream. Ladies and gents, welcome back. This is the Friday night live stream. Let's get this happening. Let's bring the chat in. Chat, why don't you join me? Welcome. And let me get a window open so I can see this in a normal size. Welcome, everybody. This is the live stream for Friday. Starting early the past couple of weeks because I think it works better for so many other people. If I bring it back by an hour, I know I can't do it on weekdays and things like that. I'm so busy during the week. I do have a day job. You know that, folks. Like, this is one thing I think everybody needs to realize is that I actually still go to work every day. I do these videos. I wake up super early in the morning. I check out the news. I'm looking at all this stuff constantly, and then I'll make videos. I'll put them out there for you guys at like 4, 5, 6 a.m., that kind of thing. Put these videos out, and then I go to work. I go and I pull wrenches, and I've been kicking it with some summer duds these days because oh man, I get home from work and it's beautiful outside, and I just want to feel good. So here I am, an hour early for the Friday live stream. I think we're going to do the Friday live streams at this time from now on. But, you know, tune in on Wednesdays at 6:30 for the Marnie and Clyde stream. That's always going to be at that time. That's where we're going to keep that. But Fridays, an hour early. It's always nice, especially on your... Well, is this a long weekend for everybody? I believe it is. Labor Day weekend. Woo! Yeah, let's get this one going. I hope you guys all have yourselves a wobbly pop. Get this stream started, and we're gonna have some fun. G'day. What's everybody saying in the chat? Yeah, pulling wrenches so long as you're not throwing them. LOL. No. I keep that zen. You know, I gotta keep that zen. I know it's a frustrating job, but gotta keep that cool. Especially, it's easier when you own the wrenches, when they're not somebody else's wrenches. You own your own capital. It's a strong thing that really helps. Frank later tonight. I didn't book Frank in for tonight. No, I didn't think to do that. Frank, I would love to have Frank on, but let's I guess maybe next week. Maybe if he's available, we'll get that. Love Frank. He hasn't been making a lot of videos this week. I saw today he posted one and he was pretty concerned about some things. Go back and watch that. It's kind of dark, but definitely worth the watch. It put him out for a couple of days. It was that much of a thing that he was a heavy weight on him. Yeah, there's some heavy things happening here. Margaret saying, where was that? Where did that go? It just disappeared on me. Why is Margaret on this chat but not on that chat? What's going on? I got top chat and then I've got live chat. Hold up, where are we? Margaret saying, hi, Clyde. Got my wobbly berry drink. Oh, I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to hear that. Let's get this going. 2 whiskey sours and an Okanagan pear cider downrange. Hot day, man. Yeah, well, do what you gotta do. Stay cool. Stay good. Have a couple of waters in between each one. That's another thing. I've been having those. Have you guys heard of them? I'm not doing a sponsorship or whatever, but like, you know, like Bubblies, or I think there's Aha. There's a bunch of different ones. It's just like a soda drink, but no sugar with a little bit of flavor in it. Been doing those in between the Wobblies to keep a little bit like less wobbly, especially on these dehydrating days. It's always good for that. He always pops into streams. Have him on. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the thing, right? If I want to be able to share video, audio, and in this concept, it's so weird. Like, you guys, I know I don't want to bother you guys with the technical stuff, but to bring a guest on is another thing altogether, and it's a different sort of thing. So I usually have to use StreamYard, and I'm not using the StreamYard app. I'm just going straight to YouTube, and we'll see how this goes, because I might figure something out in the future, because you never know. Like, somebody pops in, they're just like, yeah, I'd love to jump in the stream. Man, that would be great to make that work. But for tonight, it's just the chat, you guys, and myself, and and we're going to get into a bunch of talking points. We're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to go over some of these things. Let's see how Clyde giggles his way through gaslighting the audience tonight. Oh, quick pull my finger saying that I gaslight the audience. If you don't like what I'm saying, you don't have to stick around, but I'm glad you've come in. What to hate? It's so fun. The internet is such an interesting place where people do all kinds of things, and wow, bubbly is great. I really like it too. Haters gonna hate, absolutely. I don't see it. What was the heavy topic? Well, the heavy topic was childhood trauma and things that kids go through in Canada via daycare systems, foster parents, and the likes. It's quite a heavy topic. Frank Vaughn feels things intensely. I can relate. I totally can relate. Clyde, your chat is overlapping with another chat. Is that me or is that you? LOL. Okay, so I have the chat in the visual right here, but then you'll have the chat that you can type in next to it. Now, what I like to do is I like to put this here so people can see that their chats are actually popping up. This is a thing that I like to do. So I try to put it, people have told me, hey, make sure it's on live chat. So I make sure it's on, oh, it's not on live chat. It's on top chat again. Let's get it on live chat. Boom. So this is live chat. And what it does is just because so many, there's some people say like, oh, you're censoring people, Clyde. I'm not censoring anybody. I leave my chat open. Now I do have moderators. If you're being rude and you're just being a jerk, like people get yeeted from the chat pretty quick for that kind of stuff. But just doing your thing in the chat. That's the way it is. Clyde rocks, intelligent, serious yet funny. Thank you, John. Really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. Heavy topic. Yes. Mirror effect or Mandela. Clyde, ever seen Ren and Stimpy or Kids in the That's what I grew up on, my man. Steve, what are you talking about? Of course. Yeah, I wasn't in the SpongeBob era when it came to Nickelodeon. I was Ren and Stimpy era. That was my jam. And Kids in the Hall. Yeah, of course. Grew up on that stuff. When are you going to take another walk? Do you want me to go for a walk? I mean, I could always just like get into the woods and go on for a walk, through on the treadmill, make it happen. But no, we're just chilling tonight. It's hot in this room. Like it's kind of warm outside already, and so I got a fan blowing on me. I got a computer heating the room up, and doors are all closed, windows are all closed, everything's closed, so I can do the live stream. So that's the thing. Anyone going to Wii Unifi? Well, I'm going to Wii Unifi. Absolutely. I hope other people are going to the Wii Unifi conference. I have been giving advertisements for it. I'll be there. Marty will be there. A bunch of us will be there. The roster is getting bigger and bigger every single day. It's really crazy. This will be in Calgary. It's I can't remember the name of the center. They purposely didn't name the name of the center because it's easier to just write the address and then people will figure that out. Lefties that want to protest are too lazy to look up the address and see what that place is. That's actually a true fact. So this was brought up in one of the meetings, actually, because I'm part of the organization. Like I've been involved with some of the organizers, and that was when one of the things that got brought up was if you don't put the name of the center, people just like lefties are too lazy to look that stuff up, so they just won't. They won't do it. So it's kind of like Jordan Peterson says. There's a bunch of protests outside of his lectures all the time at all of these different things that he goes to. And so the one way he thwarted all of that was he would hold all of his lectures at 8 a.m. because commies don't wake up at 6 a.m. to go protest somebody at a campus. No, they're fair weather. They're fair weather protesters. That's the thing. Michelle Ferrari is going. Yeah, Michelle Ferrari will be there. There's a whole list of people on here. Holy cow, too many to mention. But yeah, there's Michelle Ferrari there. Viva Fry, you guys all know him. many other people. Rod Giltaka. I can't wait to meet him in person. I've had him on the show a few times. He's such a dude. Bruce Party, he's amazing. Who else? Oh, so many good speakers. I can't wait to meet some of these people. I can't wait to see some of these people again. Nadine Ness, can't wait to meet her in person. Another person there, Leighton Gray, fantastic dude. All these wonderful people. Marty up north, and myself, of course, will be there, and we'll be part of the live broadcast of this, which the live broadcast is going to be much different from the in-person. So if you possibly can go for the in-person, I would suggest you do that. Get yourself out there. And yeah, many other lovely people. And it's going to be a 3-day event. And I think Marty and I on the 17th will be doing a get-together in, where would it be? Cochrane? I think it's Cochrane. If you're in the area, perhaps you can get yourself out there and join us. That would be a lot of fun. Excuse me. Excuse. But yeah, that's a thing to do. But let's get into some of the other stuff that I wanted to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Anyway, I put this one out there this week, just today. I said, what would you do if you woke up one day to find out that the country you live in has slowly turned into a communist hellhole right under your nose? What would you do? What would you do? Well, there's obviously a lot of people liking, commenting on that one, but what would you do? What is the thing? Of course, gov.exe is corrupt. Praise dear leader, he says. Corey Henderson saying, this has been my thoughts for some time. You can ignore the signs for so long. We may have already hit critical mass, and our own Bolshevik society soon may be upon us, and it will just have to play out. The liberals winning again is a sign of that. For me, that was a bit of a point of no return. I don't know. For Confederation, in my estimate, anyway, that's well, that was my thought. And here's the deal. Like, why so secret? Why indeed are things so secret? This was JJ McCullough just yesterday. He put this out. He said, what was Prime Minister Carney's official reason for calling an election, the April election? In the declaration, it was mentioned that he'd shown cabinet a report explaining his decision. I was curious what the report said, so I filed a Freedom of Information thing, but it's all redacted. So he got it. So the reason, the decision, calling a general election, decision, why it was decided, redacted, all of it redacted. Where are we? Where are we in this country? So I tweeted this out saying, in Canada, the official reason for going to an election is sealed tighter than the JFK assassination. Why? The reason to go to an election is classified information? Why is that only pervy to particular individuals? G-Meister, thank you so much for putting the chat link. So this week's Discord server link, if you guys don't know, Discord is another social media app. It's a good one. The reason why it's a good one is because it's a great place for people to get together and share voice and video. So you can jump in to a video chat and everybody can share their video and their voice. You don't have to, but you can jump in. You can linger if you want and just listen in. But it's another one of those apps. It's great for that kind of thing. So after the Friday night live streams, we like to open up the chat over there and let people share their opinions. And this is one thing I really enjoy doing. I enjoy jumping in there and having chats with people. A couple of wobbly pops and we hang out, and that's it's always a fun time. Jilly Beans for 2 says, governments no longer fear the people. They should. Absolutely. But that's the whole point of having, I don't know, the right to bear arms, right to, actually a fundamental right to property would be nice. That's not even laid out in our charter. In fact, what an interesting argument that Hold on a sec. Jean Drew, I don't know what Clyde Do Something is talking about. Trudeau said that we're the most open and transparent government. You got me for a second there. I don't know what you're talking about. Trudeau said we're the best. We're super transparent. That's why he came in. He wanted accountability and transparency. That's why we elected him. That's why some people elected him. Back in 2015, and then 19, and then 2021. Crazy. And then now 2025. What? How did we get here, folks? How did that happen? Wow, people just get played so easy. It's unbelievable. And some people want out, but other people want in, which makes me I'm mind blown by this idea that people are like, I need to get to that Canada place because Orange Man bad, and I gotta get away from the Orange Man. My life's in danger. And that was a story that came to us via CBC. They're proud. They're absolutely proud of this one. So they had to share this story. Oh, this one's great. I might share this again next week because this is just too fun. American man who kayaked to Canada says he claimed asylum, wants to find peace. He just wants peace. He just wants a piece of that axe. No, he just wants peace is what he wants. Man, Dan Livers paddled across the Detroit River in early August, just risking life and limb getting across that river. You could probably throw a stone across. I grew up on the Detroit River, and no, you can't throw a stone across it, but it's not that far. But I'll tell you what, I do know a story. I had a couple of friends growing up, and they were on a day off, and they went in this dinghy, and they thought it would be fun to just like float the river, and they floated accidentally a little too close to the American side, and boy oh boy, very quick they got picked up, and it was a big to-do. It was a big to-do, and holy cow, well, their parents got called. They were kids, they were underage, but it was still a big to-do. And you don't do that. But if you want to go the other way, you want to kayak your way over to security on the Canadian side of the border. You're just going to be found alone at the beach. Let's get into the story because it's hilarious. It's actually really funny. And they're probably going to give us no ad. Yeah, there's an ad. Well, I'm just going to pop that off the screen until we get to that point. But yeah, not met with very much scrutiny at all. Clyde, do we put him up in a hotel on taxpayer time? Well, let's find out. Orange versus what's that? Caveney? I don't know how to even say what you're saying there. Let's get into this story because it's just way too funny. What was that? I find it interesting that the border security has been jacked up on Canadians. What I really find interesting is that the Americans denying that the president of the United States of America is the head. Who's denying that? I mean, that it's written right there in the in the law. Jean Drew with a $13.99 super chat saying, nobody that contributes to the economy wants in Canada. It's all people with ideologies wanting in. Well, we're going to get into that just right here. It's, oh boy, this one is a treat especial. We're going to get into it. Let's see what the story is all about. Thank you, CBC, for bringing us this heartwarming tale of a bum that just with mental disorder. I don't know.
It was here that an American man first set foot in Canada after kayaking to the country recently. Now he's talking about his trek across the border and his hope to find peace here. Dan Livers says he's a U.S. Army veteran. Originally from Kentucky, he paddled across the Detroit River earlier this month, landing about 12 kilometers south of the Ambassador Bridge.
I hit the sand, drug my yak up on the sand, geared up, went across the road to Timmy's, had a cup of coffee, calmed down a little bit.
Liver says he tried to declare himself.
He did. He wasn't even met with anybody. He just kayaks in, expecting that he's like storming the beaches of Normandy or something like that. He goes to a Timmy's, gets himself a coffee, and he's like, I guess I'm in. Is that it? Is that it?
A little bit.
Liver says he tried to declare himself at the nearby LaSalle fire station, but staff told him they don't handle that sort of thing. So he waited around 6 hours to run into a police officer.
About 1 o'clock in the morning, a patrolman was out doing his rounds and actually, doing his job, and lo, there I was. And he made contact with me, and I turned myself into him.
Later that day, LaSalle police said they'd handed him over to federal authorities. The RCMP confirmed his identity to CBC News and say they transferred Livers to Canadian border officials. The Canada Border Services Agency declined to comment on the specific case, but Livers says he claimed asylum, fearing his life is at risk back home.
The guy's fearing his life is at risk. I'm at risk of the Orange Man. It's so scary. He might bring the National Guard in to stop bad guys from mugging me. That might be a thing he might do. Somebody save me, please.
According to him, that's why he crossed in a kayak, not at an official border crossing.
I remember East Germany when I was a kid. Nobody came through Checkpoint Charlie, and I wasn't going to run a gauntlet of ICE, Sheriff's Department, State Police, whomever.
Liver's fears.
But he didn't have to do any of that. He just landed on a beach, unintruded.
Retribution after criticizing a nonprofit group in Michigan that provides service dogs and works with the government.
It's all true. All the nonsense you hear south of the border is true.
CBC News cannot verify Liver's claims.
The CBC just couldn't wait to air that, right? It's all true. All the things you hear, it's all true. No, take it from this hobo. Everybody in Canada, you should definitely listen to this guy.
With the government.
It's all true. All the nonsense you hear south of the border is true.
CBC News cannot verify Liver's claims. It will be up to him to prove to Canadian authorities that he has a real fear of persecution or serious harm in the U.S.
But he criticized the nonprofit, and they might send him angry emails. I mean, that's enough to get your entry into the country. I mean, for half of the stuff that people are claiming refugee status in Canada, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. And with the whole elbows up thing and everybody freaking out about Orange Man, I wouldn't be surprised. Open a kayak store in the U.S. Make a fortune. What a bunch of BS out of his mouth. Yeah, no kidding. I just came back from 2 weeks in the Southwest U.S. Still the same good old generous, friendly people. Absolutely. Isn't it? You know, I just got off the phone with actually now a good friend of mine, Jasper Sunshine. He's a Mr. Sunshine baby. He's been talking with a buddy of ours down in the South. And he's been saying, "Come on down, come on visit, come on check it out." And he's like, "Should I do it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go have some fun. Go take your family. They'll love it down there. Absolutely." Come visit me when I move down there. I think you'll have a great time. Let's do a trade. He can be there. Your wife comes to the U.S., right? No kidding.
And that he wouldn't be safe anywhere in the country. For now, Livers is staying at the downtown mission and says his experience in Canada has been great so far. He knows getting refugee protection will be hard, but he's up for the challenge.
I just don't want to get killed, and I hate looking over my shoulder. And I promise I'll do everything I can to be a good Canadian, and I will defend your border. I swear I will.
So move to Brampton, buddy. You'll enjoy it. I'm sure you'll have a great time there in Windsor, Ontario. Or maybe you can move to Toronto. Go to some of those places. You'll feel safe and sound. And just know that if anyone breaks into your house, you cannot defend yourself. Unless you want to face prosecution. But yeah, that's wait, they actually allow you to do that in America. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got nothing. I got nothing.
Libers could be waiting months or even years for a decision on his asylum claim. That's because the government is working through a backlog of cases.
That's what so many people are relying on. The backlog will allow you to stay until they tell you to leave. That's what's really wrong with all of this stuff. Tell him to take a hike in Nova Scotia. Go on, get on over there. Get your kayak and go paddle down the river in Nova Scotia, right through the woods. You're on the wrong side of the Berlin Wall, bro. No kidding. Absolutely. Did he come from blue state? Yeah, Michigan. Wow, no, Michigan flipped. It's red. It's one of those back and forth states. But that's the thing. But will they let him vote? Well, the Canadians probably will. The Liberals will love that. Sounds like he's taking the blue pill for sure.
Emma Loop, CBC News, LaSalle.
Thank you, Emma Loop. You really put this into perspective for all of us. Now, I put this out there actually before I even seen this article because this is hilarious. I said I think Canada, even though they can't negotiate a trade deal, could enter into a foreign exchange program where the lefty retards in the US could come live in communist Canada, and all the liberty-oriented freedom lovers could fill their spots in the beautiful US of A. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that would be a pretty sweet deal. As one of you was alluding earlier, that maybe he could stay and my wife can go, because we've been waiting and we're still waiting, and it looks like there's probably another 6 months before we have a decision on our case. Been emailing people, trying to talking to representatives down there, and nobody getting back to me. I can't. There's nothing's happening. It's really oh man, it's getting troublesome. It's getting difficult to listen to. But what do you do, folks? That's where we're at. The only way Canadians bring money is if Americans claim refugees. Sad. Yep, that's it. But we're Canada. We've got Orange Man's bad, right? Orange Man bad. Except Mark Carney. Not so much these days. Not so much Orange Man bad anymore. The rhetoric has changed, and so has the attitude of the PMO, not the average people.
So let's be absolutely clear. Canada currently has the best trade deal with the United States. And while it's different from what we had before, it is...
That's funny, Clyde. I'm barely keeping it sane in this liberal retard Ontario. Why are you trying to make it worse? I'm not trying to make it worse. I'm just pointing it out. I'm just pointing stuff out.
From what we had before, it is still better than that of any other country. So as we work...
I could have saved them all some time on election, all of that stuff, and just told them that right from the get-go. Because I remember that. I recall that. I do. I remember that distinct moment when everyone went Orange Man bad, and the main tone of the election is Americans are terrible. Let's shut down all business and trade with America. And this was a bipartisan effort as well. This was from both sides of it. This is the liberals and the conservatives. Yeesh. Wow. That's a crazy one. Clyde could never leave. What are you talking about? No. As soon as we get the okay. That's the plan. Carney makes me ill. Well, yeah, all of us.
Work to address outstanding trade issues with the United States. It's important. It's vital. We do everything we can to preserve this unique advantage for Canadian workers, Canadian businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And doing so,
I think you would do that,
will
right?
require both building on a soon-to-be revised CUSMA, our free trade agreement with the U.S. and Mexico.
USMCA. Stop calling it CUSMA. It's stupid.
as well as developing a new form of trade and security partnership with the United States. In this context, and consistent with Canada's commitment to CUSMA, I'm announcing today that the Canadian government will now match the United States by removing all of Canada's tariffs on U.S. goods specifically covered under CUSMA.
Specifically covered under CUSMA. Yeah, so this is CUSMA. CUSMA. Could you kill that acronym anymore? So Mark Carney admitting, of course, last week, and we've all had time to digest this because this was last week during the live stream that this news came out, but we've had time to digest this. We've got the best deal, he says. We've got the best deal. I mean, geez, I could have told you that. I have been saying that for weeks and weeks and months, actually. We've got the best deal. Stop pretending we don't. We've got a way better deal than everybody else. This is the way it's moving forward, and it's going to be glorious. Let's just be honest about this. And you know what? America, Donald Trump, he gave the choice to Canadians. He said, listen, you're gonna have to pay tariffs to enter the United States market. Your businesses are gonna have to pay tariffs. That's just the way it's gonna go, unless you become part of the United States. Because if you're part of the United States, then you don't fall under the category of a foreign entity. That's pretty simple. And the choice was made. We're gonna get angry. We're gonna get mad. We're gonna get emotional. And that's what Canadians did. And Canadians did that. And what do you do when you're emotional? You make really, really, really bad decisions. Oh boy, congratulations. Congratulations. You absolutely top notch. You got right out there, made all the worst decisions. Trish Brew for 279 says, does Mexico call it Musca? LOL. No, they don't. They don't put the Mexico ahead of the USCA, the MUSCA. Get out of here. It's so asinine that Canadians are doing this. But it's funny now. It's funny. It's a funny after the fact sort of thing that Mark Carney's coming clean. He's coming clean, and here we are. We're in a bit of a pickle. We've been in a bit of a situation. Just a bit of a pickle. Interestingly enough, because holy cow, what's the news that broke just recently? I think this was the news today. Canadian economy shrinks 1.6% in the second quarter as U.S. tariffs squeeze, reports say. The contraction was much larger than expected, but higher spending softened the blow. Oh, thanks, propaganda. You're still doing your thing. The higher spending, the fact that the government is spending money we don't have, is totally softening the blow. It's gonna be great that we'll have more debt when we don't have the money. We're not making the money. When USMCA expires next year, Canada will be in a world of hurt because the tariffs will be huge. Frankly, the biggest. I mean, with all of this, man, you got to understand it from this perspective. When this happens, so Donald Trump obviously called up Carney and PP slapped him. This did happen. Yeah, that's right. Huge, Reg. Huge tariffs. And this is what Mark Carney was saying in that conference. Because Donald Trump ignored him for, I think, 2 weeks. Mark Carney was like, I need to get on the phone so I can negotiate and have some good news for the Canadians. And Donald Trump kept saying, yeah, I heard he called, but I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. No, he's just, no, I'm not answering the call. The Canadians have been pretty terrible. I saw what you guys have been saying about me. I saw what you've been saying about America and Americans and all of this stuff. And what you're doing to the tourism industry, and you're proud of it. Okay, keep pulling that, keep going. But he probably got on the phone and he said, listen, USMCA negotiations come up next year. The deal expires. I don't have to renew it. 85% of your economy that's covered under USMCA can all expire. All of it. And then everything becomes subject to tariffs. Now, wouldn't that be dandy? Javon John Drew with a $13.99 super chat says, wait a second, wasn't Canada saying that Trump betrayed the USMCA? It was Canada that broke the trade deal all along. So Canada was in the wrong the whole time? You got it. And I've been saying it. Donald Trump put tariffs on things that were not covered under the USMCA. Canada broke the USMCA by putting tariffs on things that were already covered under the USMCA that allowed products in. And the USMCA, not the best deal. Let's just be honest, especially when you're considering all the deals that are happening. And I love what's happening. I love it. I love it. It's huge. It's great. Frankly, the greatest. And the reason why I like it is not because it hurts Canada. Now, it will in the short run. Lots of things hurt when you correct for bad behavior over a long period of time. Keep kicking the can down the road and you keep making mistakes. You keep doing all these awful things. It's gonna take some pain to get back. The United States saw this. US saw this. Donald Trump came in with the tariffs, and all those people went, oh no, the stock market just went way down, lost $1 trillion overnight. And people are going, oh, did we make a mistake by getting Donald Trump into office? Is this something we did? Did we make a mistake? Is he an idiot? CNN's telling me he's an idiot. MSNBC's telling me he's an idiot. They're telling me that the stock market's crashing. It's all down and it's terrible. And then they just stopped talking about how terrible it was and it was down. And wait a second. Oh, they just stopped talking about that. I'm just not going to pay attention to that. I'm not going to pay attention much to that at all. And in fact, why would I pay attention to that when I can look at other things and not look at that at all until somebody points it out to me? And then it's just it really is just a case of, oh, what is that? Oh, so it went down $1 trillion in a short period, but then it bounced back $13.5 trillion above its level from before in 4 months. Are you kidding me? That's what went down. So all those people that said Donald Trump's a crazy guy. He's a crazy man. He's just doing crazy. What's he tweeting Kofefe and all that stuff, dude, all these things. What? No. He had a plan and he stuck to the plan. Even though people are like, hey man, like this is kind of what's crazy plan, man. What are you doing? No. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge. Frankly, the best plan ever. And what did we get? We didn't get any of that. U.S. stock market gained $13.5 trillion in 4 months. Just gonna put that right there. And let people have a look at that. A lot of people had a look at that. Oh boy. Isn't that exactly the opposite of what everybody predicted? So all the things that people are predicting now, why would you listen to that? Absolutely, why would you listen to that? This is so crazy. Yeah, people might say, oh, but Clyde, you just got too much faith in the guy. You're a sycophant. You're just talking all about him. No, when he did the wrong thing on the Epstein thing, I was totally against that. Really disappointed. Absolutely. And I think this is the difference between, the lefty, sycophants, idiots, like crazy people that are just, as long as it's not Donald Trump, it was good. We're just gonna go around. No, you get your guy in the spot, but then when he doesn't do the right thing, pump the brakes. Yo, dude, let's not do that. And he says, no, I don't want to talk. Why are you talking about Epstein? Why is that important? You drop the Epstein thing. No, In fact, no, we're not going to drop the Epstein thing. And they ended up not dropping the Epstein thing. And that was largely good. But this is the reality of the fact. Yeah, it's gone up crazy. It's gone up like crazy. And it's doing really, really good. And guess what? Canada went the other way. Absolute the other way. And it's going in a different direction. It's going in this direction. Capital flight crisis in Canada. Record exit by foreign and domestic investors. What does that mean? That means that people who have money tied up in businesses here. I like Clyde's liberal clown voice. Which one's the liberal? I don't know. It just comes out as it comes out. But I guess it'll come out again. Epstein is radioactive. No one will touch that case now. No, people are touching that case. Believe me. And yeah, there's probably a bunch of disinformation put into that, but the truth will come out. And this is the whole point. The whole point. Air it out. Get it out there. Make it available. And what happened with that whole thing? What happened with the whole thing of Donald Trump saying, why are we talking about Epstein? Get that out of the place. Why nobody want to talk about that? And then everybody pries into it. And then what's the news that came out? Well, it turned out that Donald Trump was when nobody wanted to look at the case of Epstein, Donald Trump was the guy actually sounding the alarm, like, no, this guy can't come into my Mar-a-Lago anymore. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, contacted the authorities and said, something weird going on with this guy and minors. You might want to look into that. And that's what actually opened up the door. And the only reason why we know what we know today. Alarm bells? Is that the wrong expression? I don't know. Yeah, he rang the alarm bells. He said, alert. Something's wrong with this guy. Something's going on with this guy. Go check him out. And then next thing you know, he actually he got prosecuted. That was a thing. So, vilifying Trump turned into this like, wow, Trump actually turned out to be a solid dude and was the guy that did that. I don't know, man. It's so funny how it always turns out that he's pretty squeaky clean. But anyway, back to the Canadian economy. So the elbows up approach didn't really work. It was a valiant effort. They put all their efforts into that. And nobody wants to invest in Canada now. Now, whether this for two things. Foreign investors are looking at Canada and going, wow, you almost had it. You could have voted somebody in like the Conservatives, and that might have gotten people on board. And I'm not sure if they would have completely been on board, but they, would have definitely looked at Canada a lot closer under Conservatives. And I only say this because there's still the liberal bureaucracy. There's still the liberal Senate. There's all these things. Conservatives can only do so much. That's they've got what they've got. And I've got ads going on the page going right now. So they've got what they've got. You go give it, look into it. Will we be able to make investments in Canada? And when the Liberals got in, and Mark Carney with his no pipelines and all that stuff, nope. And not only that, investors, Canadian investors, people who have their money, and who are the Canadian investors? I don't know. You guys. If you have any money put away in any stocks, maybe a portfolio, something like that, that's your money. It's going into investments within the country, typically. And a lot of investors are going, you know what? Maybe we should maybe we should take your profile and maybe diversify a little bit and maybe get your money out of here. Hey, Clyde, where can I send a link for this YouTube video to look over and give your opinion? I have it, and it's crazy scary on possible scenario that could come to pass. Thanks, Clyde. I don't know if I can look it over during the live, but there's the email right on the main YouTube page. So if you go to the YouTube channel page, Let's hold on a sec. I'll show you where it's at, because YouTube keeps moving stuff around. And that's the thing. You can also send it to me on X in the DMs, but that it doesn't always go through. So that's it's a gamble if you do send it, but give it a go. Give it a go. Where are we? View your channel. So on the channel page, and I'll pop it up here, it used to be like info or something like that. Now it says I think it's more. You hit more, and then it pops up here, and then there's view email address, bang, and then you can get to the email address. Send me an email, send it off that way. Hopefully it gets to me, and I can possibly take a look at that. So that's one way. The other way is Discord. So Discord is another social media platform that we use. We use generally on Fridays, but it's been picking up, and a lot of people are having conversations all throughout the week. It's a fantastic place to go and meet other people that are, other people that are in the, there's the link right there, by the way. Other people that are in the community that want to reach out and talk to other people. They just want to have conversations. Say, hey, I'm weirded out about all this stuff that's happening too. Hey, would you like to talk about it? Because I don't know, I get the heebie-jeebies when I'm in my neighborhood in Ontario, and all these unterrible people are just crazy liberals, and maybe you don't feel comfortable talking with other people, or who knows what your story is, but you want to just be able to have chats with people that are a little bit more on the same level. Yeah, follow that link, head over to the Discord, and check it out there, and you can always send me links over there. There's a whole channel specifically for that, for putting pictures, vids, links, that kind of thing. Dusk, yeah, it's great. It's a fun place. It's definitely, that's the thing. So after the live stream, I'll be in there chatting with everybody. So if you want to join in there as well. Darn it, Clyde, go look up Smith's announcement on Alberta Wallet. She just introduced a digital ID based. Should be outraged. Okay, so actually I got messages about this. Why don't we address this? Because it wasn't all the outrage that people think it might be, to be honest. It isn't. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on anybody here. But if you know digital what is it? Where is this? Somebody sent it to me. So I think I have it in here. There's so many notifications. It's crazy. I'm trying to find it. I'll just type in digital wallet. Yeah, if you know technology, it's not necessarily about having a digital ID. It's about having an ability to put your ID on your phone. This is something that I've actually been talking about for a bit, about having the capability of doing health card, birth certificate, marriage certificate, post-secondary degrees, literally your ID in one digital spot. Not the same as digital ID. What digital ID people are thinking about here. So where's Danielle Smith? Digital. I'll just type that in. It'll pop up. And here's Yukon Strong. I love Yukon Strong. DJ, he's a cool guy. Unfortunately, Premier Smith announces the first phase of digital ID. In my opinion, without a bulletproof constitution guaranteeing private and basic human rights, digital ID will likely lead to social credit and more COVID-era power abuse. It could. Let's get into it.
Government's goal is to use advances in technology to make life simpler, easier, and more convenient for Albertans. And I'm happy to say we are doing that with a new app. It's called the Alberta Wallet, and it's designed to let you carry and manage government-issued documents on your mobile devices. The new mobile health card is the first of its kind in Canada, and you can show it or scan it at hospitals and clinics as proof of health insurance coverage in Alberta.
In the future, the wallet could include other documents like marriage or birth certificates, high school or post-secondary transcripts, journeyman or trade certificates, and much more. I'm proud to have worked with Minister LaGrange on the Mobile Health Card Initiative, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of the things that we will be adding to the Alberta Wallet to solidify Alberta as the most innovative jurisdiction in Canada.
Hi, Matt Skace, Canadian Press. On the app announcement today, you mentioned steps that are being taken to ensure personal information is safe. Can you give some background on how this was developed, who was involved in developing this?
Let me turn that over to Minister Glubish, who was our lead.
Thanks.
Sure. Thank you for the question. So we led the development of the wallet in the core infrastructure that will be the repository for these government-issued documents. And then we partnered with Minister LaGrange's department on the issuance of the mobile health card into that wallet. So we've built the standards and the security and the encryption and all of the systems that these that these government documents will be issued in accordance with. It is all in alignment with our world-class privacy legislation and protections in this province. For me, it was as simple as this. If we are going to give a tool like this to Albertans to use, I want to make sure it's something that I'm comfortable using, and I want to make sure that there's no chance that that anybody can see how I'm using this card, using this wallet. That's up to me. And so that's what I'm confident that I can tell to Albertans is that you are in control of how you use this. Government can't see how you use this. We are simply there in the same way that today our job is to issue a paper card to prove that you are an insured Albertan to have access to the healthcare system. Now we also can offer a mobile option to say we will issue you that same proof that goes into your mobile phone that you can show and interact with the healthcare system.
Great, thank you. Question for the Premier. Just circling back on the books that were released by Edmonton Public School yesterday. It wasn't released by them, but it came out.
Okay, so I didn't get into that question. So what was I talking about the other day? I was talking about this with someone that I know, because I was like, I carry around all these dang cards, and I would like to just have pictures of the cards so I could just scan them, right from my phone. That was the conversation that I was having with somebody, and I was talking about it in a rudimentary way, not like I want a digital ID service or anything like that. I just wanted to be able to I wanted to be able to leave my cards at home and just carry my phone. I'm tired of this wallet and all this other stuff. It'd be nice to have just a mobile phone, an ability to have it on my mobile phone, lock it, and then nobody can get access to it unless they have the way to get into it. Now, that being said, portal for the government with the government in an app. Yeah, I'm feeling a little sus about that. So I'm feeling a little sus because I don't know what they're putting in the app. You get what I'm saying there? I think making an option for an ability to make your IDs digital could be a thing, but I just don't trust the government with it. That's a hard one. That's a really hard one for me. Yeah, convenience over freedom. No, that's how they get you. It's always like convenience or this or that. I'd have to really ponder this one because I don't know. I don't know how they make, because getting away from, not getting away from, have a physical card, have a physical passport, has a physical, all of these things. So here's a perfect example. One of the awesome things, and I'm not going to show you my ID on the live stream, but I'm just going through it here. My U.S. passport, I have a U.S. passport, but I don't have to carry the book wherever I go. I can carry my U.S. passport card, and it's good for sea and land crossings. I think that's fantastic. Having a little bit more convenient things is always good, and it's hard to argue against convenience. And having an ability to digitize a thing and then be able to present it in a way that is authentic and it's not being counterfeited is a good idea. It comes with some other weirdness, though. Oh, so you have to have an app on my phone? And what does the app do? What does the app do? It's on my phone, right? Oh, okay, so what could possibly the app do? And that's where things get weird, because the government wants to know. Obviously, in a lot of cases, we've seen this over and over again, where the government actually wants to know what the communications between you and another person are. Well, I'm sorry, but the government has no authority to have those communications. No cell phone for me. Yeah, that might be a way to go. But whew, yeah, okay, we are treading in some dangerous territory here, because I know what apps can do, and that's not good. Not good at all. There's a good reason why you would not want a Huawei phone, for example. So why would you want a Government of Canada phone? Yeah, spyware. Yeah, no, that's a hard pass for me, actually, on this one. A government wallet in my phone. Yeah, hard pass. Hard pass. If they made a system, and I think if they made a blockchain system, for example, where you could have your information on the blockchain, and then you could put whatever app that's, third party made from whatever source that you trust to be able to pull out that information on the blockchain and then hand deliver it to somebody else, that's different. That's totally different. But when the government's like insisting, well, you can only use our app to do this thing, then it's a big old nope. That's a big old nope on my end. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys on that one. I keep getting ads in the middle of your live broadcast. Yeah, that's a YouTube thing. That's sorry if that's inconvenient. But it's YouTube's been implementing that, so ads will pop up, and then yours truly can earn a living on this stuff. But I mean, doing what I can. Use Brave browser, and sometimes that'll break some of the features on YouTube. But that's one of those things. My landlord is trying to make us use third-party app to pay rent. Yeah, I wouldn't go for that. I'd say, generic e-transfer, things like that. Flip phone sales are going to increase. LOL. Yeah, who knows, man? Maybe there might be like a big market for people to have just like plain Jane phones with no, like, dumb phones without all the smart capabilities. That might be a thing in the future. People might get sick of being plugged in all the time. Who knows? I get no ads. You probably have YouTube Premium. These are the guys who claim they're going to cull the human population. The WEF. They have actually said that. That's not outside of the thing. That's not a weirdo like tinfoil hat thing. They've actually said that. Using wars and famines and things like that bring and birth control and abortion. They want to use all of those things. I mean, Margaret Sanger, we all know who she is, I'm sure. Maybe people don't. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, they call it Planned Parenthood. It sounds so lovely, doesn't it? She was she was a giant racist. Actually, it turned out she thought black people shouldn't live on this earth, and she thought the great way to get rid of them was to get them to abort all their children, and that's why Planned Parenthood is largely in black predominant areas in the United States. Is really gross, actually, when you think about it, and you give it a little bit of thought. It's really something else. It really is. let's get into some more stuff. I wanted to talk about other things. We're getting onto some rabbit holes that are crazy when we could be going really crazy. Why don't we go really crazy? Something bad happened this week, and I'm not going to get into the bad things that person did per se, because if you do bad things to children, nothing good that I can say about it. But I can say something very good about a guy on Fox News named Jesse Waters, who has some cojones. Let's just say real cojones to actually speak the truth and say exactly what's going on in this, call it a community that's out there. And there's a lot of people that are really upset about it. And well, for good reasons. Let's have a look. Here's Jesse Waters reporting for Fox News on, a large reason why people go in and shoot people for seemingly no reason at all.
Suicidal transgender who hates Trump's Christians and Jews shoots up kids at a Catholic school, and the media wants to take away your handgun. So how are we supposed to protect ourselves from trans shooters? The media is bad at pattern recognition. We aren't. Just 2 years ago, another trans 20-something walked into a Christian school in Nashville with a rifle and shot 3 kids and 3 adults. They buried the manifesto and locked down the case.
They did.
We've seen trans shootings in Colorado and in Maryland. They even shot up an ICE facility in Texas. And it seems like half of Antifa's trans. A couple of they-thems just got popped for firebombing Teslas. The mayor of Minneapolis says you can't say that.
Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity.
What about the sense of common humanity that doesn't go and shoot kids? Think about that. We're not. How do you villainize villains? Like, whoa.
We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone. We should be operating from a place of love for our kids.
What kind of place is this person? Oh, sorry, wrong thing. What kind of place is this person operating out of? Writing on the magazines, writing on the firearms. Kill Donald Trump, rip and terror. F optics. Bowel pilled. Kill Trump now. All of this stuff. Right on the firearms. This is unbelievable.
I don't hate anyone who thinks they're trans. I feel sorry for them. But statistically, the trans population has been prone to violence. That's not villainizing, that's reality.
Yeah.
And if you can't recognize reality, you're in danger. We love the American people, especially American children. And if they're troubled and believe they're somehow a girl trapped in a boy's body, we want to get them help.
Yes.
We don't want to give them hormones and operate on them. Society shouldn't be trying to produce more trans kids. We shouldn't be encouraging an emotional disorder or whatever this is. And doctors should stop profiting from it. Great Britain ended child sex change surgeries. They said it's barbaric, and they're right.
Yes, they're right.
And politicians should stop elevating the trans issue like it's the civil rights struggle of the 21st century. You see it all over Minneapolis.
Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for our trans community.
For being a safe haven for transgender individuals.
We have sued them for gender-affirming care. Yes, we are not going to scapegoat our transgender community.
When our children
Scapegoat.
tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
So when your 9-year-old tells you he's a horse, do you let him sleep out in the barn and eat hay? What are we doing here?
Come on, Jesse.
Just a few
That's
years
funny.
ago, the psychiatric community classified transgenderism as a mental illness. Then doctors went woke and removed it as a condition, and now millions of young Americans are identifying themselves as trans and getting high fives. When someone has an illness, we should treat it instead of affirm it. We don't celebrate schizophrenia.
It's an epidemic of intention. Like, you have to understand this. Like, kids these days have been just like thrown away. Kids often are just thrown away because both parents have to go work. So they're put into daycares, and they're with people that the parents don't even know. Who knows these people in these daycares? And then kids need a tremendous amount of energy, like they treat attention, tremendous amount of attention, and they're given none. And now we have this attention economy. Attention economy is the online space. And then on top of that, these kids, they just want to know how to belong and how to do the thing. And when you have a bunch of leftist crazies teaching kids in schools, and they give all the special attention to the weirdest of the weird, whether it's transgender, they, thems, this and that, whatever, they come up with these things and they get attention for it. Then the kids are like, yeah, me too. I'm that too. Give me attention, please. And it's not that difficult to come to these conclusions, that these kids are just simply neglected, absolutely neglected. And then they end up in this spot. Kids with parents that spend lots of time with their kids. Does this stuff happen? I don't know any cases of that, but this holy cow.
We don't encourage depression. Teenagers are confused. Sometimes
neglect is
these
abuse.
things are just a phase.
Rage man.
And if they're not, all right, then a grown man can wear a dress. If he wants to do that in America, he has that right. We're a pretty darn tolerant society. But the left's weaponizing trans kids and turning them into culture warriors.
I'm not saying that people that have to work are bad. I'm not saying that light giver. I'm saying that when a lot of the people just throw their kids away. They do, and they trust too much in other people to do everything for them. And it's a lot of those situations. You know, when you have lots of love at home and all these other things, that's different. That's totally different. I understand financial circumstances, but it's just the way it is.
And they've been turned loose against the church, schools, and Trump. You see it, I see it. The trans clan has a militant wing, and it's out for blood. They're taking lives, defiling churches, and freaking everybody out. And some politicians are doing more to protect shooters like Westman than soft targets like schools.
And you don't think that these people are violent and that's their whole thing? Have a look at this. This is just a perfect one. Big shout out to XX and XXY Athletics for posting this one. Can a movement built on anger achieve anything good? This is a great video.
Angry. Go out, buy a gun. It's okay to be angry.
Get out of my face now!
If you try to stop me from going into a woman's bathroom,
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
be the last mistake you ever make.
It is ma'am.
Find
Try it with
that
me, pal.
anger.
Just because. Hey!
Harness it to do good in the world. This anger,
Done, man. We can just make a batch and say that some of us well.
anger is probably my primary source of motivation.
You want to call me sir again?
The thing is, you don't have to leave.
You loser, bitch.
For everything that I do.
Cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
That was a scene. I gotta go back. So, I don't know if you ever caught that scene. That was Ben Shapiro with this ex Navy SEAL that became a woman overnight, and he's just spitting like whatever, like Ben Shapiro does in a sort of autistic sort of way. Men can't be women. Women are women, and men are men. And I'm afraid I just can't. I can't call you a ma'am. I'm gonna call you a sir. Next time you do that, I'm gonna send you home in an ambulance. That's mildly inappropriate. In fact. Does anyone ever actually go home in an ambulance? That's Ben Shapiro, man. It's funny moment. Sorry. That that's a a piece of internet history right there.
Ambulance.
I'll f you up!
It was a call to action or a call to arms.
It's not! Sorry, man. It's not! You want to fucking call me?
Don't be afraid to show your anger.
Yeah, well, they're showing their anger. Can a movement built on anger achieve anything good? Great question. Great question.
Hey!
The truth fits. The truth definitely fits. It really does track here.
In 2023, private schools in Minnesota begged Governor Walz to fund more school safety. They told him it was an urgent...
What do we got here? We got CTL delete. I can't see the rest of the name. Sorry for that. 279 says, I grew up as a latchkey kid. Is that new trans? No. Well, latchkey kids were that was the 90s. That was like, get out of here. I don't want you in the house. Go. Get in the woods. Go do what kids do. Get out of here. I mean, that's most kids throughout history, really. No, that was healthy. Get out there. Absolutely, get out there. Do your stuff. Maybe might have been for some people have been a little bit more healthy to have a little bit more interaction with your parents, maybe a little bit more of a relationship, discussions, that kind of thing. I've heard stories about some of the latchkey kids not having it that great, but it's a bit different.
And critical need. Minnesota had an $18 billion budget surplus, but the governor didn't do it. Instead, he turned Minnesota into a trans sanctuary. And his attorney general, Keith Ellison, sued Trump so they can keep castrating little boys. Tim Walz failed. Our leaders keep failing us.
Yep.
They failed us during COVID, on trade, on immigration. They say they care about kids, but they locked them down and oversaw an obesity and chronic disease epidemic. And now there's a growing trans epidemic, and they won't even admit it. Just like crime. They created a crisis and then lie about it and blame you for not being compassionate. But their fake compassion is getting people killed.
That is. Their fake compassion, because that's exactly what it is fake compassion. It's absolutely unfounded. And I love this. Danielle Smith was in the news now. But here we are. oh boy, here we go. Jack posting this one. Jack's a good friend of mine, by the way, and he's well known on X. Big advocate in the gay community, and used to be part of the whole LGB thing, and then all the alphabet soup took over and made it retarded. And Jack's been on the show. He's talked about it. I'll have him on again from time to time. He's a fantastic source for the news on this stuff. He says widely ignorant left in Alberta are furious that the premier Danielle Smith removed these blatantly, can't say that word, on problematic, but with naked pictures, books from elementary schools. Read that again. The left in Alberta are mad at the conservatives for removing CP, essentially, from the view of children. I'm beyond proud of Danielle Smith for actually showing the content of these books in a press conference. I would have done the same thing, which I may have a difficult time actually putting this on YouTube. So bear with me, because I might have to go, take it off the screen, and you can listen to the audio only. While this goes, Clyde needs AI to help with his dyslexia. Get a brain chip, bro. Yeah, it is what it is, man. We all got our quirks. What's your quirk, Nova Scotia Cobra? I'd love to find out what your strong suits and your weak points are. I put my weak point out there for everybody to see, and I love the criticism. I think it's great when it comes in. But here's Danielle Smith showing the graphic stuff that is about this. Catherine with a $10 super chat says, YouTube won't let me say what I want. Maybe I can stay awake this week for Discord. Oh, hopefully you can. hop in there after the live stream and jump in and let me know what you actually think without the YouTube censors, because we know that's actually a thing. ADHD, is that your thing? That might be a thing. I was told that I was ADD when I was a kid. My dad's like, he was a boy. He doesn't need crack or whatever the heck that is that you're giving kids, and kept me off of that stuff. Thank goodness, because I watched some of my friends that were totally normal got on those meds and they just went like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Not great. Anyway, here we go. Hopefully this is not going to get me canceled from the internet or YouTube in general.
Just circling back on the books that were released by Edmonton Public School yesterday. It wasn't released by them, but it came out.
Come on, Clyde. We all know the guy criticizing others on the internet is a perfect little flower and has no flaws. Come on, don't be that hard on him. Yes, I know. I've got dyslexia, and sometimes it sucks, and it makes me bumble and fumble over words, but it's just a quirk. If it's a quirk of the channel, it's a quirk of my reality. If you have a hard time with it, well, you're gonna have a hard time at all. So, I mean, I'm not telling people this Clyde dyslexia. There we go. We're not telling people you have to stay. Just ribbing my guy. Yeah, okay. There you go. There you go. So it's not actual harsh criticism. Yeah, no, I try, dude. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I'd rather the ribbing than not say anything at all. Lysdexia. What? Clyde? Oh, geez. I don't know. I don't even know how you start spelling weird stuff. It's not gonna register with me, man. Not with me. It's better than nothing. Thanks, G. Really appreciate that. Hotel Canada, Clyde. Such a lovely place. Such a lovely place. I need to get some guitar in on that, but no, I digress. I'm gonna get right into this thing that I wanted to talk about. Put this on.
Just circling back on the books that were released by Edmonton Public School yesterday. It wasn't released by them, but it came out. We understand your objections to certain graphic content in certain books, but this includes obviously Margaret Atwood, Brave New World, Maya Angelou. Do you have issue with the books that are on this list? And what?
No, it doesn't include Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood, by the way, is a terrible writer. I was forced to read her stuff in high school, and it was just grueling. I know she's Canadian, and I know she's a feminist, but like, we had to read it for like descriptive writing, and I don't care what the entire room looks like. You don't have to fill 3 pages of what the room looks like before you get on with the action of the story. Get on with the story. I don't, goodness. Sorry. But if you over describe and you win prizes, I guess, like, wow. Yeah, Margaret Atwood, boring indeed.
Next steps are you looking to take?
Look, I think I'm going to have to show the screen here, because people aren't kind of getting what it is we're trying to do here. We are trying to take graphic pornographic images out of elementary schools so that kids are not exposed to age inappropriate material.
So just so you know, this is in school and I may get in trouble on YouTube, so I'm going to probably have to move the screen off so you can't see it because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Do you get what I'm saying? If that's the case, then it's absolutely inappropriate for schools.
So I'm going to leave it on for 15 seconds. I'm warning you that the content may be disturbing and it's not appropriate for young users. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay. Yeah, it's
I
going
know
away.
that the cameras probably can't print it
No,
on the
I cannot
evening
show
news
that
tonight without probably facing some kind of Broadcast Standards Council
Cannot
complaint.
show that.
And I know that I would get delisted from Facebook.
So I can only describe this in like, wow, really generic terms. But boy, what do you even say about that? Like the words to use it. Wow. Okay, so it appears to be imagery of a boy and a man, members touching, and then a boy performing, let's just something that sounds like it. Horatio. Yeah, no, it's clearly pictures of that. This is, wow, you cannot show this on YouTube. Cannot show this on YouTube. And you can go to the press conference and see this, but this is stuff that's actually in kids' schools.
For showing these kind of images on Facebook because they're pornographic. That
Okay, so there was more images. More images of let's just say an adult and a child performing what looks like Colonel Angus. I think Colonel Angus would be the term that describes that without saying the actual thing, and it's in a comic book style. Very graphic. Whoa. Okay, yeah, you cannot show that.
That is what we are trying to address. There's another one here. Please take a look at it so that, and I'd invite all of the school trustees to take a look at it too. We have tried to be as polite about this so that people understand.
Oh, there's another image of a person touching themselves, and then graphics discussing it, and then okay, that's a man going up to a small child and then pulling down the child's pants. That's what's being depicted in this image. Again, I can't show this, but you can go yourself to the conference where Danielle Smith is showing this. And these are cartoon pictures. They're not real pictures of real people. But this is not protected speech, actually, because this has actually been there have been cases where people have been prosecuted for what's called LolitaCon, and which I'm a big fan of Japan, but one of the things I don't like about that is the proclivity of this type of content that comes out of Japan. They call it lolicon, which is short for the Lolita complex. And if you don't know what that is, Lolita was a novel that was written, I think, in the 60s, somewhere around there. And it was a novel about a man who fell in love with an underage girl and proceeded to consummate that that relationship. I don't know how I can talk about this in a proper way, but that novel became the I guess the main theme for a lot of pederasts and that kind of thing, and they use that term as the thing that they do, Lolita. So the Lolita complex is people that have a complex with it's being a pedo. They call the Lolita complex. It's not good. And then this stuff, you adding like same-sex stuff on top of that. Holy cow.
Understand what it is. Here's another one so you can have another look at the kind of material that we think should not be exposed to young children.
This is actually amazing that Danielle Smith is actually showing this content that's being banned from the schools, because the whole thing is like, it's kind of like Antifa. Antifa kept saying, it's not even a real organization. It's not a real thing. Like, how can you even say it's a real thing? It's hiding behind the vagueness of like the fact that we can't show what it is. She comes out and she just shows it. Well, you're just trying to burn books. Oh, well, do you want to show this to children? Because I don't want to burn books, but do you think this belongs in front of children's eyes? Is that something that you would like to have happen? Let me know. Yeah, big old tip of the hat to Danielle Smith for having the cojones. I know she doesn't have cojones, but she's definitely got the huevos for this act. That's amazing.
Aged 7 years old, and I think we've got one more that we would like to show you as well. Here is another example.
And this doesn't look like children, but it looks like two women and a man in a bed with just wearing underwear, and clothes are coming off, and there's text all over the page, and yeah, kissing and stuff, that, and candle lights. That's what's being depicted in these images here.
So I don't know how much more clear we could be that what we are aiming to, this all began because these were the images that parents were showing us that were accessible to children in elementary school libraries. And so we asked school boards to use their discretion to identify books that might not be age appropriate for elementary school children.
So like you were saying, the first picture was from a book called Genderqueer, and first released had an 18 and over rating. And yet it's being circulated in children's schools. Crazy.
And then and Edmonton Public is clearly doing a little vicious compliance over what the direction is. And so if they need us to hold their hand through the process to identify what kind of materials are appropriate for senior high school students,
if it's not appropriate on YouTube, if it's not appropriate on television, why the hell do you think it's appropriate in front of children? Seriously. Seriously.
What kind of materials are appropriate for junior high school students and what kind of materials are appropriate for elementary school students? We will more than happily work with them to work through their list one by...
It's common sense. Don't make Danielle Smith a hero. Why? Nobody else is coming out publicly and actually showing this in a conference. That's heroic, to be honest. I'm gonna throw that out there. And let me be straight with you. I'm not a fan of everything Danielle Smith does. I did a video today where I was giving her props for something that she did, and I'm the same way with everybody. I'm the same way with everybody. I gave Mark Carney props for saying the right thing. I wanted to say some expletives and I stopped myself. You know. Mark Carney came out and he said that we've got the best deal. He's correct. He's talking the truth. That's the thing. If Pierre says the wrong thing, I'm going to say he said the wrong thing. If Danielle says the wrong thing, I'm going to say that. I'm not a sycophant. I don't have pom-poms that I wave for politicians. I'm not going to do that. It's not the game I'm going to play. But when they get it right, I'm definitely going to give them praise for it. Absolutely, I'm giving her praise for this. This is brave.
By one, so we can be super clear about what it is we're trying to do. We are trying to take sexually explicit content out of elementary schools that is inappropriate for me to show on the television news at night, and so it is inappropriate for 7-year-olds to see. That's what our objective is.
Wow. Wow. Very, very good. So Jack sent me that today and called me on the phone. He said, you have to see this. Is the most amazing thing. I said, I'm not going to watch it. I'll watch it in the live stream. He's like, heads up, very bad content on there. You're not going to want to show that to your audience. Okay, so I was forewarned, and that's why I did it the way I did it. So that's the thing. Pierre has a lot of stains, though. I'm not sure where the conversation... You guys are talking amongst yourselves as well, so sometimes I don't catch all of the things. Call it out every day. Absolutely, I will. Call Me Deaf Canada is full of them. Yep. In fact, some of the calling out. So I didn't know where this live stream is going to go, but here we go. We're going into some of these territories. Let's call it out. And oh man, I love that I'm slowly but surely becoming more and more of a fan of Ezra Levant. Can I say that? Can I say that? I'm slowly but surely becoming more and more of a fan of Ezra Levant. He is just like, honestly, he's been right on so many damn things, and he's really, really put himself out there. He's put himself out there, and he's put himself into positions that may not be popular, but he's, oh boy, is he an attack dog? He'll go for it, and he'll just say like, no, here we go. I want to know the truth. And he's not afraid of, upsetting his own team. He's not afraid of upsetting people on this side or that side. He really goes. He really tracks. Ezra did a great vid on this. Okay, so you've seen this. Love Rebel News. Strong went Mao. Strong went Mao. Ezra can be a bit theatrical, yes, and I totally agree with you there. But his heart is in the right place. Except if it's about Israel. Well, I mean, obviously he's Jewish and he stands for Israel. Ezra stands up for Canadians. He does. Ezra the Jew, he's a Jew lover. He's Jewish. Like, what'd you call me? Like, Clyde the beard lover. Like, what would you call Clyde the Japanese lover? It's like, yeah, my wife's Japanese. I love Japanese. I love a Japanese woman. I mean, like, that's just a crazy thing. I love what Ezra does for Tommy Robinson. Yeah, Tommy Robinson on top of things. So I like what Tommy's doing. I don't know if like what some people are trying to reproduce in Canada doesn't really compute. For some people, other people may be similar, but that's a thing. But let's get into this because this was really good. I think Ezra did a really bang up job on this. There's a huge preface to this, and I'll leave a link. Actually, I'll put the link in the chat so everybody can have access to it. I'm going to show a portion of this, but he does a big prelude to this, and you guys are all up to speed on this. This is about castle doctrine. It's about the idea of people wanting to be able to defend themselves in Canada. And where's the shirt from my guy? What are you talking about? The shirt from my guy. What's the shirt from my guy? Lee? You'll have to explain a little more, and then I'll get into it. Yes, he's Jewish. Who's fighting for Canadians, though? LOL. Paycheck PP? Is it Paycheck PP? That's the new thing. I was calling him PR Polyev because he was going for the PR thing. Castle now. Rebel is on. So wow, that just went away. It just says S. Studio 778 for $6.99 says. Shout from Monument Alley. Americana is the best. Met so many awesome Americans. Note, Canadians, the worked says what? The worked says get your get your stuff together. Okay, gotcha. Your shirt, my guy. Yeah, we got shirts coming out on the store. Do you guys want to? Did you guys get a sneak preview of that? Your shirt. I loved it and I want it. Yeah, I showed I showed a bunch of people on the in the Discord. I thought it was the Discord. I didn't think I showed it on the live stream. But that's the thing that's coming. There's just one change we had to make to it, and then it's coming out very, very soon. I think it's happening this week. I sent the changes to Yuji, who runs my store. And we're getting out. We both have day jobs, man. Give us a break. Give us a break. Show the shirt. Show the shirt. Show the shirt. Okay, so this is the shirt. We've got a new Clyde Do Something shirt. Wha-bam! Here it is. This is the new look for the Clyde Do Something. We've got this. It's in Japanese, so it says Clyde Do Something in Japanese. But we're thinking about offering the English version, so we wanted to get a little bit of feedback on that before we did it. So, do you guys like the Japanese style or the English version? We're also gonna have a little QR code, so when your friends are like, "What is that? That's awesome!" They can just scan the QR code, and it takes you right to the channel. And so that's what we've been working on. So I hope you guys like that. Where's your Hawaiian shirt from? What store? Where's your Hawaiian shirt from? What store? Where did I get this one? I think this might have been Source for Sports like a couple years ago or something like that. Lol, that's funny, Clyde. I thought you guys would like that. English, please. Yeah, so we're going to give it both options. Both options will be available. And it'll only be, just because of how the print works, it'll only be available on dark prints. So I think we might do like black and navy blue and that kind of thing. topic, do you have a favorite anime? Dororo. Look it up. You'll really enjoy that. It's about a kid who had everything taken from him by his father, sacrificed him to the gods and took everything from him. His skin, his limbs, his eyes, his voice, everything, and then put him on a basket like Moses and sent him off. And then he was picked up and he was raised by this thing. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, really good story. Definitely, that's a great one to watch too. That and Dororo, two of my favorites. Dororo's way more graphic, way more dark of a story. Definitely recommend that one if that's the thing. Castle law applies in my home. So this is something that's interesting. Castle law actually exists in Canada. I didn't know this until I watched an interview with Runkle of the Bailey. If you don't know who he is, he's a famous. He's a fantastic YouTuber and lawyer who specializes in firearms protection and all that laws. And he pointed out that castle law actually exists in the sense that your domicile is your castle and you're not expected to flee your castle. You're not expected to flee your home in the event that you have an intruder. But from there on, we have a bunch of laws that are really, really not great. Doro, what? Doro, no, it's just like Dororo. Dororo. Let me find it for you. Yeah, just Dororo. Dororo, animated series. Go look it up. You'll love me for it. You'll thank me later. Anyway, let's get into this. So, castle laws, Ezra Levant, bang up job. Like I actually very Metalocalypse is awesome. Chili Peppers. Oh yeah. If you guys don't know Death Clock and Metalocalypse, it's not anime. Well, it's animation. It's more along the lines of like Beavis and Butthead style. Freaking awesome. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, that's right up my alley. I love that stuff. Nonetheless, let's get into the story because I won't if I keep just like talking about Death Clock.
Keep our people safe. Let's put our country first. Let's once again work together, all of us from all parties, to make this a country where everyone who works hard gets a beautiful house in a safe street with good food on the table.
Protected by our safe
under
troops.
Our proud Canadian flag.
Yeah, he did this whole thing during the election.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Ezra.
Thanks for having me here, Ezra Levant from Rebel News. For years before marijuana was decriminalized, it was the position of police and prosecution not to charge anyone with small amounts in possession. So they didn't wait for the Parliament. I see that Mark Carney's favorite premier, Doug Ford, has said he's for the castle law.
Did everyone hear about the story in Lindsay? So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house. This guy gives him a beating, and this guy gets charged. And the other guy gets charged. But something is broken. I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family. I'm telling you, I know everyone would.
Protect your family.
I get more calls than anyone in the country.
Sorry, I love the Ontario accent. It cracks me up. I had it for so long, and I think that I still have remnants of it, but it cracks me up still every time.
People are done with this. They're absolutely done. They're finished. You should be able to protect your family. When someone's going in there to harm your family and your kids, you should use all resources you possibly can to protect your family. And maybe these criminals will think twice about breaking into someone's home.
Yeah, like the resource of the premier of the province that says he has your back and probably could do something about it. And this is great because I love the preface of this. Ezra Levant beautifully prefacing this. It was the fact that marijuana laws in Canada largely legalization of marijuana became a thing because the prosecution just stopped prosecuting people. The police just stopped giving people tickets and stopped arresting people for it. They just, it was a thing. It's like, hey, he clearly doesn't have an intent to traffic. Bigger fish to fry. Let's move on and just go. It was a discretionary move. And this is something that Doug Ford, of all people, can direct. He can direct. Don't put so much focus on this. Don't put so much focus on this. Move on. Let's get through this. And it's so beautiful, actually. And I'm jealous I didn't come up with it before as an event. Great legal mind. Fantastic. Really on point. Really, really on point about that.
And other provinces like Alberta have said that too.
Well, if you don't want to get shot or beaten up, don't break into people's houses. It's pretty straightforward.
Love it.
Will you call on Doug Ford not to wait for Carney to reconvene Parliament, but rather to issue a statement that there will be no more prosecutions of homeowners who defend their homes just as a matter of policy, because right now his prosecutors are going after Jeremy McDonald, whose home was invaded in Lindsay, Ontario.
And those are provincial prosecutors who are doing that?
Yes.
Well, I think that's...
just the fact that he qualified that right away. Like, of course it's provincial prosecutors. Of course it is, but it's like, oh, not my wheelhouse. Okay, let's get into the answer. That's a great question. Let me go somewhere with that.
Great idea. I don't know the legal powers that a premier has to direct the prosecution service, so I would not comment on it. But I would hope prosecutors would stop going after law-abiding people who are defending their property. We need prosecutors to go after criminals. Now, as for their ability to do that, I've never been a Crown prosecutor, so I don't know. We have a Crown prosecutor here, in Larry Brock. So maybe he can jump.
Look at the look on his face, though. I don't know. I gotta get it bigger. So you can see. Look at the look on Larry Brock's face. Or maybe go like that. He did not like being pointed out in that moment. Not at all. Why are you looking at me? Don't look at me. Don't point me out. I'm not good. Oh, boy.
Jump in on this. But I will say this. We need to change the law. Let's make the law clear. Let's bring into place the idea that your home is your castle so that no prosecutor, judge, or police officer can ever go after someone who is defending their home against an invader who presents a threat. Do you have anything to add, Larry? Prosecutor. This is the prosecutor.
Thank you.
Okay, despite the look on his face, he's jumping in there. He's getting in.
Thank you, Leader.
Leader? Thank you, Pierre, man. Come on.
Crown prosecutors in every province, particularly in Ontario, maintain independence. As long as they can justify that independence, they are still directed policy-wise by the Attorney General. In this case, the Attorney General of Ontario being Doug Downey. To answer your question, Mr. Levant, Mr. Downey has that ability to perhaps direct Crowns in light of what we are doing at a federal level to reflect upon the change in legislation we hope is about to come.
So you were the former senior prosecutor.
So that was actually a really good answer. And it was, this is where you ought to go. Let me tell you the direction where you need to put the pressure. So it's at that level. Okay, good to know.
Prosecutor. The law is the law, but the government can decide what the legal priorities are for prosecutions. How would it work if a province like Ontario or Alberta decided to take the lead and stop prosecuting homeowners who defend themselves? That's a legal thing. That's just a policy decision, right?
Well, it is, and I spoke in response to your question in very general terms, because every case is, as you know, is fact specific, right? So that's why I started by saying every assistant crown and crown attorney maintains a degree of independence. And that independence is free of any interference from a crown manager, a crown director, or in this case, all the way to the top of the chain, being the Attorney General. So long as the decision made by that crown attorney can be justified by policy and by law. So to answer your question, given the outpouring of concern that a number of people have, a number of police unions are speaking out against this, police associations are speaking out against this, and in this case Doug Ford is speaking out against this, he has the ability to have that discussion with his minister. And that minister has the ability to direct crowns across the province to really reflect on that decision to continue a prosecution.
I find there's a great gulf between what Premier Ford says. He says he stands in solidarity with his homeowner, but it is his domain. The prosecutors and police are within provincial jurisdiction too.
Absolutely.
He could, I suppose he could do, he could say, look, unless there's an egregious case, we're just not going to put resources to it. Like he could change this without waiting for Parliament, right?
He can't change the law,
but he can change he can say it's not in my assessment of the public interest of Ontario is we're not going to put resources.
Yeah, and but that's not his domain.
So from what I've understood right now, and maybe I could totally be wrong. I could totally be wrong, and I'm gonna concede this, but I do listen to a lot of Runkle the Bailey, and man, I would like to have a conversation with him. He presents, a great case for why prosecutors and why police actually recommend charges. It's a lot of the times because they're trying to cover their butts, right? They're like, oh, well, I don't know. Let's just play it safe and charge both parties. But here's the thing. It is a discretionary call. If somebody shows up and it's like that guy broke into your house with a what was it? A crossbow, and then they get in a tuffle and the guy grabs a kitchen knife and the other guy ends up with cuts to the point where he loses a bunch of blood and is in critical condition. Well, I'm sorry, but why are you putting it on the onus on the person who's protecting their own property? It should be at the police level to just straight up, I don't recommend charges. And then the Crown, from that point, can say, yeah, I don't either. I don't think that's a great use of our resources to go after the guy that was just sleeping in his house at 3:30 in the morning when somebody broke in. North 49 RC for 5 says, I don't understand why this is an issue. This should be an open and shut case. Am I right? Am I right? Open and shut. But once you open the door, here's the thing. This is the Pandora's box of legalities in Canada, is that once you open up the door to, well, we've got to just at least press charges so we're covering our butts. And then it's like, okay, now it goes to the legal system and they get prosecuted just like any other criminal. The difference between here and the United States with castle law, castle doctrine, is if somebody breaks into your house and you shoot them, it's just absolutely seen as like that person was defending their home. You don't have to go through the courts to prove that. You might do if you're in a place like California, some other states, New York, this kind of thing. But if you run into somebody else, like, let me pop this out because I've got videos of sheriffs specifically talking about this. Exactly, because it's this absurd that there would be such a dichotomy in this
house.
So hold on a second. Let me pop this open. We've got, okay, yeah, here we go. This one and this one.
But we have received information.
My bad. One second. This one first. So you have to watch this whole thing. So the story is this criminal was running around the place, and he was going from here to here to here, and then he ran into somebody's house and ended up getting shot by the homeowners. And the homeowners were like, I'm not telling the cops. I didn't do anything. I don't know. And then this conference came out, and I love Florida because Florida is a sunshine state, and what that means is that in Florida, after a confrontation, it's their legal obligation because of sunshine laws to either do a conference or tell the press about a scenario. This is where the Florida man thing came from, because every day you'd have like, Florida man did this and got arrested. Florida man did this and got arrested. It was always in the paper. Florida man did this and got arrested. And they didn't bother putting their names out there anymore. So they just said Florida man or Florida woman. And that was the thing. There's been a saying in the prairies for some decades, because you will get charged regardless, just dig a hole. That's crazy, right? That's absolutely crazy. Listen to this conference. You guys will absolutely appreciate this.
Good morning, and thanks for coming, everybody. We're going to talk about an incident that occurred yesterday in the Santa Villa subdivision in Pace.
Love this.
And it involves, if you can put him up,
that
Mr.
guy.
Brandon Harris, who you hear me talk about frequent flyers all the time. Our first interaction with this individual came when he was...
By the way, frequent flyers are a big thing. It's actually a big part of Pierre Poilievre's rhetoric these days. It was part of the campaign before the election started and then disappeared during the campaign. But frequent flyers became part of his rhetoric again. But that's a big thing. 40 people in one town committing 20,000 crimes over the course of a year. Crazy. But it is a thing when you have a revolving thing, and police officials and police constables, people on the street, they hate doing it. They hate seeing the same people over and over again. It's a thing. VIPT Cruiser for 2 says, Ezra is a Zionist supporting genocide of Palestine. Yeah, we're going to disagree on that one. So whatever. Thanks for the $2, but yeah, we're just going to disagree on that one. But getting back to this, yeah, it's frequent flyers is the thing. And when you have revolving doors, that's a problem. So what's Florida's solution? They have a different outlook.
He's 13 years old. Since then, he's had like 17 arrests. He got out of prison. We sent him to prison for 6.5 years for home invasion. And he just can't seem to get the picture of crime does not pay. So yesterday, about 4:30, we get a call to Santa Villa subdivision in reference to him being a suspicious person. Multiple people call. We end up, probably 20 deputies get there, set up a perimeter. The dogs are out, and he's jumping fences and breaking into houses as he goes. So that started at 4:30. Around 5:12 p.m., we get a call, shots fired. So one of the homeowners, he was breaking into their house, and they shot at him. So he continues to run. We finally corner him in a house that he broke into on Tom Sawyer.
So you get that. He got shot, but he continues to run. It wasn't fatal, obviously, just injurious. And so he kept running.
And we corner him in a bedroom. And I think we have a video of what the genius does next. So this is our deputies approaching the bedroom. They know he's inside. He's blocking the door right there, like we're going to go away now because he's got his foot against the door. So they force it, and when they force the door open, there he goes out the window, head first.
Head first out the window.
Right through the glass. And we catch him right in the backyard. So a couple of things. He had active warrants. He had a felony violation of probation warrant with no bond. He had a battery, which is a misdemeanor first, and an ag assault with a weapon, felony first degree. Those were his warrants. Now, what we charged him with was 1 count of attempted burglary with assault.
Get a bigger pew. No, it's not about bigger pew. It's about learning to shoot better, and he gets into that.
Degree felony. 1 count resisting arrest without violence, misdemeanor first. 2 counts of burglary to an occupied dwelling. Both of those are second-degree felonies. 1 count criminal mischief for the window he went through, misdemeanor first. 1 count of attempted larceny, misdemeanor second. And 1 count of burglary to an unoccupied dwelling, felony third.
So listen to this. This is a rap sheet like a mile long. He's going to go away for a long time. And it's not always the desirable outcome. Let's just be honest.
7 charges total. His bond's $157,500. And I want to say, as to the person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually.
Prefer that you do.
So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
What is he saying there? Let's break that apart. Let's just break that apart just a little bit here. So he's saying, if someone breaks into your house where you're not going to get in trouble for shooting them, you're more than welcome to shoot somebody that comes into your house. That's right. and if next time this happens, beforehand, come on out. We teach a free safety course every other week on Saturdays. A free course. Come on out. Bring your gun. Bring some bullets. And we'll show you how to do it right. So next time, you're going to place those shots correctly. You're not just going to injure the guy. And you'll send him off to his creator and save the taxpayer some money. That's right. Because you wouldn't believe how much money it costs to incarcerate somebody for a year or more. It's incredible. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to incarcerate somebody. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And all the bleeding heart leftist societies that are going to come out and say he didn't get enough TV time today, and he didn't get his Skittles. He didn't get, I'm not kidding. It's wow. It's not about like punishment anymore for these leftist groups. It's about, well, it's got to feel like Club Med. He's got to feel good while he's relaxing and not working and communicating with other criminals about how to become a better criminal. Oh, VIP. Dude, wrong chat. If you want to talk about that stuff, man. I mean, this ain't the place. Really. I get it. You're pretty, fervent on that stuff, but this ain't the place. I mean, I'm not gonna hash that one out with you. Sorry. I can't do that with you, man. I love you, bro. You've been around for a long time, but geez, not the place. To be honest, just not the place. Costs more to keep someone in jail than on welfare. Boy, is it? Is it now? I don't know about that. I'm not reading that stuff. In Canada, it's called uttering a threat, and off to jail you go. Straight to jail. Now, I love I love this guy. This is Sheriff Grady Judd. He's from I think it's Polk County, Florida. He's got a YouTube channel. Somebody brought it up in the chat. It's fantastic. Go check him out. He's got all kinds of stuff up there. Tampa Bay 28 also puts a lot of videos up there. 1.3 million views on this 5 years ago. He's got 1.04 million subscribers to this channel. That's how awesome this is. This was during the No Kings riots that were happening all over. They want to say that it was successful and it was all over the place. It was in LA. Like LA, they had an outburst, and a bunch of people who are from Mexico think Mexico is the best country in the world, but don't want to be in Mexico, which really, really boggles my mind. They all came out for that, and a bunch of other lefty lunatics. They came out to destroy and loot and destroy people's property. So there was word that it was gonna spread across the country. So Sheriff Grady Judd, who's elected, by the way, sheriffs in America are elected. You elect your sheriffs. And this guy's popular. People love him. He had a message for those people.
But we have received information in social media that some of the criminals were going to take their criminal conduct into the neighborhoods. I would tell them, if you value your life, you probably shouldn't do that in Polk County. Because the people of Polk County like guns.
Yeah.
They have guns.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage them to own guns.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to be in their homes tonight with their guns loaded.
Yep.
And if you try to break into their homes to steal, to set fires, I'm highly recommending they blow you back out of the house with their guns.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. This man is a legend for sure. Absolute legend. Be safe. Yeah, be safe. Ever watch the Captain Hoggins threat to gangs? Gets you fired up. No, I don't know if I have seen that. Maybe we'll watch that later in the Discord. This is every red county in America. Absolutely is. It's just this guy got famous doing it. It's funny. And I think a lot of it came out of the Florida Sunshine State laws. That's why it became so so public. Hey, ya hosers. Yeah, you just get here. You just get in here. Love that clip. Communism is the only way to stop climate change. Yeah. So we hear. Right to defend oneself is a human right. And here's the problem. The problem is this idea in Canada that people don't have a right to defend property, which I thought was really an interesting argument. It's an interesting argument. Where have I? So I gotta search this up. So that was recently. Oh, I'm probably not gonna find it, but let me give me an attempt, just at least a moment. Where did I see that? See that? Ooh, I'm seeing a couple of these coming my way. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Love you. Putting a couple in my magazine, but it was Greenspan. What's his name? The guy who's representing Tamara and Chris Barber, and he made an argument which made a lot of sense, but it really took me in a weird direction when it came to legal stuff. So bear with me. Part of castle law, castle doctrine, is the idea that you're is it Greenspan? Okay, there you go. Part of the idea behind castle doctrine is that you have the right to protect yourself, but your property, right? And that's what most people assume, and that's what I would hope people would assume. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a video that I have this one. Yeah, that's the one.
Well, look.
And we'll get to that in just a second. But people assume that they have the right to protect themselves. They have a right to protect their families, and they have a right to protect their property. Here's the interesting part that's really unfolded, and people are really, really starting to see right now, is that when the Charter of Rights and Freedoms was established in Canada back in 1980, there was a lot of discussion over what should be put in it and what rights should be given, granted, privileges bestowed upon the people of the North, which is ridiculous that the government are the ones to decide this anyway, instead of just maybe looking south to what rights shall not be infringed as a rhetorical way of framing it. I much prefer that, because I'm of the belief that you have rights that are endowed upon you by your creator, whatever you think of that, whether you're religious or not. And government, when it forms, is infringing on your rights. This is the infringement. It's a monopoly of violence. It's a monopoly of this and that. But we need to set together a set of framework, a set of principles and a framework that the government shall not infringe on certain rights. We should all put this at the forefront of how we organize society all together. And one thing that the Canadians omitted, and it was in discussion, it was part of the discussion, was property rights. And there were too many in that conversation, too many that believed that property rights should not be enshrined or codified as law, as something that we should all stop framing it like that the government shall not infringe upon. Instead, they thought the government shall infringe upon this, on property rights. Now, the Canadian way of looking at that would be, well, the government does not grant Canadians ultimate privilege or to property. They don't have the right to property. Now, your inalienable rights would say, no, you have the right to your property. The only reason why you have property is because either you homesteaded it or you purchased it from the fruits of your labor, and you did these things, and now that's yours. It's yours to have. It's of no one else's right to have these things. To take that from you is an infringement on your rights. The government sees it in a different way. They see it differently. They see it as, well, all property ultimately within this jurisdiction is the government's, the people, the crown, the king, the parliament, whoever controls the thing. And they will grant you the privilege to keep that property until it's a situation where they see fit that's not yours to keep anymore. North 49 RC says, if your name is signed to it or you own it, then you have the right to defend it. No? Well, this is an interesting concept. Now, property rights is the fundamental basis of an economy. Without it, economies do not function. And this is the reason why. The reason why is because if you don't believe that you own a thing, then you cannot put in trust somebody else a lien on a thing that you own. If ultimately you don't own it, then nobody else could. You couldn't borrow money based on the things that you own. You couldn't trade with people based on the things that you own. If there's an arbitrary function that could just take things from you, then you wouldn't have any trust. It creates a regime uncertainty, as the Austrian school economists talk about. This is something that pops up in places like China. Chinese government can take your property even if you bought it. Yes. And if you think that's different in Canada, you're really mistaken. You're absolutely mistaken. Here's the guy who replaced Jody Wilson-Raybould when she didn't like the way things were going in the Trudeau government. David Lametti, because he was the white guy that would just do the thing. Here's him explaining during the Freedom Convoy specifically about property rights.
Well, look, we'll obviously tailor the provisions so that it could withstand a court challenge. You don't have an absolute right to own private property in Canada. it is there are steps that are taken when expropriations happen at whatever level of government, and we'll be sure to stay with.
He wasn't kidding. He wasn't kidding, because it's not guaranteed. There is nothing in the charter that protects your private property. And this was something that was actually brought up when drafting the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and it was scrapped. It was thrown out. The idea of owning private property. So this becomes a big deal when it comes to castle doctrine, because you don't have a right to the property ultimately. So how is it that you can defend that thing that you don't have a right to? That's difficult. Now, where Greenspoon comes in, or Greenspawn, he brings this up. He brings this argument up, and I wish I had the clip at my disposal, but you'll have to just believe me here on like what he said. But so the argument was, and let me get into that in a second. North 49 RC for 5 says, I see the WEF plan is going. If you see it now, you're a year behind the truth. Look up the Century Initiative. We've talked about this, my man, and we'll talk about it more. Absolutely. But so Greenspawn is actually using this fact as a point of contention in the mistrial, whatever you want to call it. It's a mistrial in my estimate, of Chris Barber and Tamara Leach. Because what is the argument of the Crown of why they deserve, Tamara and Chris deserve 8 years and 5 and 7 years and confiscation of property, which of course they don't believe that they ultimately have a right to. In this, what was the argument given by Greenspawn in their defense? Because the argument given by the prosecution is that, love you, Clyde. I'm wobbly pops up. Okay, we're wobbling tonight. So the argument given by the prosecution in their case is that they deprived people of their right to their enjoyment of their property. Think about that. So when the Freedom Convoy came there and they were honking horns and they were doing their thing, and they weren't blocking the streets, but the claim is that they were blocking the streets. The argument is why they're deserving of so much time in jail is because of the amount of people that they have deprived of the ultimate ability for them to enjoy the use of their property and public property on top of that. And Greenspawn eloquently argues, in Canada, you don't have a right to the enjoyment of your property. It's not a guaranteed right. But you know what is a guaranteed right? Freedom of expression. That's right there in the Charter. That's right there in the Charter. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I haven't had to study all of this stuff. But when that came out of his mouth, and that was the thing that came forward as an argument, it blew me away. It blew me away is that the fact that we don't have rights in a particular segment of society has become the defense of someone who was actually out there defending everyone's rights to their person, which I would argue property rights begin at your person. And this, because property rights are not guaranteed in the Charter, if you study the philosophy of property rights, where do property rights originate? Where does it come from? Where is the origin of your property rights? The property rights come from the fact that you own your person. And this is where it gets dark. This is absolutely where it gets dark. You own your person, therefore the fruits of your labor are yours. And if you pay for something from the fruits of your labor, that becomes your possession and it becomes yours. But if none of that is guaranteed in Canada, well, then they have every right to tell you what you can and can't do with your body. And that gets you down a path of diabolical consequences, which I'm sure a lot of us actually all came together because of that infringement of a right that we didn't even realize we don't even have in this country. It's not guaranteed. There's no one coming for you. There's no legal writ. There's no argument that you can bring to a courtroom to guarantee that right that we all know, we all feel, we all sense is a right that we all have. But there's nothing stopping this government or any government that forms in this country from infringing that right. That blew me away when that concept came into mind. Was a wake-up call for me. You're correct, Clyde. According to the Canadian Chinese government, you belong to the state. All hail the supreme leader. Then how are they paying First Nations for land in BC? Well, they're doing that just because it divides people. That's the whole purpose behind that. And oh boy, are they pulling some other crap these days. Holy cow, let's get into this. Because this one, Ben Bankus, comedian. I had him on the show before when I was down in Texas. He's fantastic, by the way. Originally from Toronto, now down in Austin. How do we make this madness stop, he says. This is crazy. City of Toronto staff are now including pronoun declarations, Indigenous, and African land acknowledgements in their email signatures. Your city government is completely captured by activists. What in the bloody hell is this? Bankus was just on Kill Tony? Oh, dude, I gotta watch that. Bankus is awesome. This is crazy. So I'll read this because it's fine print on your screen probably. These are the recommendations from Lisa D. How do you say that? Felicia? Whoa! Dangerously close to some of the other content that we were discussing earlier. By the way, that's a she, her, in case you couldn't tell or didn't know by the name Lisa. Anyway, coordinator, administrator of operations, city of the integrity commissioner, because you can't have integrity unless you have an integrity commissioner. You got to have an authority on these things. The office of the integrity commissioner of Toronto. Catherine Gagne with a $5 super chat says, Canada has a law you can break into a place to save yourself from freezing or dying. Or does it have a law? You'd have to tell me. I don't know. I don't know that to be the case. Liberals are gay. That's funny. Here we go. Land acknowledgement. The Office of the Integrity Commissioner acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of many nations. We don't even have to include, including the Mississaugas of the credit. Sorry, of the credit? Like the Mississauga Credit Union. We're on the territories of the Indigenous Mississauga Credit Union. The Ashanabeg and Chippewa and Hadusanan, I'm not even going there, whatever. And the Wendat peoples And this land, covered by Treaty 13 and the Williams Treaties, is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Land acknowledgements. I did one once on the channel, and people were kind of taken back. They were like, "Whoa, Clyde's doing a land acknowledgement?" I said, "Yes, I'm doing a land acknowledgement to." I just wanted to, before I got into the story, acknowledge that the unceded territories of the great Triceratops that used to roam this wonderful land and chew on the foliage and I don't know, juniper berries, whatever the hell the thing did. Whatever. But we're also doing African ancestral acknowledgements. That's a thing. That's a thing now. Okay, let's get into this. African ancestral acknowledgement. Though I'm not a person of African descent. Didn't know that, Lisa DeFelicio. I couldn't tell. But because I know you're a she her. Thanks for clearing that one up in the at the top of the letter heading. Though I'm not a person of African descent, I'm committed to continually acting in support of and in solidarity with Black communities seeking freedom and reparative justice in light of the history and ongoing legacy of slavery. Ongoing legacy of slavery. What, in Canada? Where? That continues to impact Black communities in Canada. Oh, she said in Canada. Because for a second I thought she was talking about Libya. And nobody's all about the Libya thing and how you can buy a person for $400 in Libya. Yeah, did you know that? Yeah, probably not. I know she probably doesn't know that, but whatever. She's just doing this lip service. As part of this commitment, I would also like to acknowledge that not all people came to these lands as migrants and settlers. Specifically, I wish to acknowledge that those of us who came here involuntarily, particularly those brought to these lands as a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery, in support of the city of Toronto's ongoing efforts to confront anti-Black racism. I pay tribute to those ancestors of African origin and descent. Most of them got here from the Underground Railroad. Why is there no mention of that? Why is there no mention of the fact that the end of the Underground Railroad was Canada? We want to acknowledge the histories of the transatlantic slave trade and all the things that occurred because of it. Why don't we acknowledge the fact that the West was the only people to end slavery, a practice that went on since barbarism? Are you kidding me? Like, what are you even on about? African ancestral acknowledgement? Honestly though, the if we're going to talk about the history of why Black people are in Canada, let's talk about the Underground Railroad and the people that lost their lives, white people, people of different ethnic origins that went to jail, lost their lives, risked everything because they had a belief that slavery was bad. So they did all of that, brought people through into Canada where slavery was illegal. Why? Because the British made slavery illegal at great cost to everyone in the colonies. Are you kidding me? Defechu for $10 says she will never give credit to people like William Wilberforce, a white man and a Christian who stopped the slave trade in the West. The acknowledgement should be for the fact that there is no slavery in the Western world. Because guess what? Go around the world, it still exists. It still exists, though, even though we've banished it from our society. It's unbelievable. VIPT Cruiser for 5 says, if you register your property with the government owns it. Then the government permits you to use your property. House, land, car, firearm. Yeah, all of it. Got a license for that? You got a license for that property? License? You got a possession and acquisition license? That's how they do it. And it starts with the person. So where's the slavery? Great point. VIPT Cruiser. Great point. That's right. There is slavery that still exists here in Canada. And it's not the transatlantic slave trade. It's the tax cattle. It's the tax cattle that we have. And we have an underclass in Canada, unbelievably. While all of this is happening and all of the things that they're putting out there. Oh, I love that at the end. Confidential information. You're not allowed to copy this and send it to other people. Well, guess what? We got it. I read it. I read it on my live stream to a lot of people. If you haven't seen it, Mitch Wexler on Market Mania 2 days ago, the property tax scam through bond schools boards. Now I gotta see that. Market Mania. Love that channel. Yeah, Market Mania is great. I gotta get him back on the channel. He's a busy boy. I messaged him a few times. We'll see if we can get him back over. It's just, yeah, scheduling things. I want my ancestors' land in the Scottish Highlands back. I'm in crisis. Yeah, right. It says just look at cobalt mining. Yeah, that's modern day slavery, right here in Canada. What about all these LMIAs and temporary foreign workers that are trying to get their permanent residence, and they're working in entry-level positions, and they're having, they have this massive debt to the company that hired them because they had to pay them a bunch of money, black market under the table, just to get the LMIA, which was sold to them illegally, which the government is just blindly turn a blind eye to, so that they can have these indentured servants, to the point that the UN is looking at this and going, Canada, you have indentured servants in your country. This is crazy. And it's not doing us any favors. It's only benefiting these giant corporations that are just sucking the lifeblood out of the country with the willingness to bail as soon as they've gotten all the blood out of that stone. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this is where they're going with it. And what happens because of that? Well, you've got a lot of people that get really upset with those people instead of the people that are causing the problem, and then creates a bunch of racial tension. And then what happens when the racial tension happens? Well, then government steps in and says, I got the cure for that. Let us provide you that cure, which usually comes in the form of more government. Be careful when you get really, really emotional about a thing. Be careful and be curious about who's actually pulling the strings on that. But, I mean, like I said, it's not getting any safer around here. We are the slaves. Work our asses off and give all our money. Yeah. At least 60% of it before the paycheck's gone. And then what do you got? Then you got some money to, I don't know, buy stuff with a giant tax burden on the stuff before you even get it, so it's higher prices, and then a GST and probably a PST on top of that. I see a lot of like congratulations going out to Brian Mulroney these days, and I just I know probably maybe he did some good things, But anytime I hear Brian Mulroney's name, I don't think of anything except GST, and that it's still here. You remember that temporary thing that was coming in to balance the budget, and then they balanced the budget, and then that temporary thing stuck around, and then they didn't balance the budget. They just kind of leaned on that one as something that is always around, always sticks around. Yeah. And then you don't even get that thing. You don't even own that thing you bought. Oh, isn't that a kicker? Isn't that a kicker? But anyway, let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about solutions. We've seen it. We've seen it from time and time again. In fact, this was a great film. This was a film put together by Aaron Gunn before he became a MP. I had him on talking about it, but this is a film he put together called Canada is Dying.
We begin with breaking news tonight. Police say a man stabbed and assaulted at least 4 people.
Video of the incident shows the woman pushed onto the tracks.
Police say the victim was hit in the head with a large pole.
Security footage captures a drug-fueled rage in Nanaimo.
The police got him, and the cop said he'll be out just after he goes to court in the morning after breakfast.
I was just seeing familiar faces in the criminal justice system, and frustrating aspect was they were continually being released.
I don't understand how our justice system can allow him to be out walking the streets. My son should never have been murdered.
We live in an open prison yard.
Do you feel less safe than you used to?
Oh yeah, are you kidding? I sleep with something in one hand and something in the other hand, and I'm not kidding.
9 out of 10 people on the street are carrying a weapon at all times, I would say.
How much of that is directly or indirectly related to drug and drug addiction?
I would say all of it.
It's a terrifying trend taking place across the country, and it's killing an average of 17 Canadians a day.
People who have drug addictions, they have mental health issues that are unchecked, those are the ones that are causing real concern. Those are the ones where we see these sporadic incidents of violence.
Through this exemption, we will be able to reduce the stigma.
We're having good conversations with British Columbia about something they want to do there.
But they're specifically calling for decriminalizing drugs.
Yes, they are.
This is the first
Yes.
day. And
wow.
buy some cocaine. I don't even know. I haven't even really looked at the menus.
What we're doing now is almost capital punishment in our streets by neglect. Other citizens have.
I live really near Vancouver. I see this stuff. I know it.
Smoke, making sure there's a safer supply.
We had like 6 patients die from overdose. The majority of those patients were getting safe supply.
We are giving out huge amounts of a very dangerous opioid narcotic.
So they're doing the same thing today that they are currently suing these companies for doing 10 years ago.
Except the drug's more powerful.
The drug is more powerful.
It's a big deal. Yeah. It changes a person's life once, just with one pill.
You know, we got to wake up and stand together and hold the accountability where it needs to be.
This is sheer sloppiness from the government.
Canada is dying. Now, what's happening? What are we doing in Canada about this? Well, not a lot, because we went in the other direction. We went actually in the other direction. We got mad because Orange Man bad. Orange Man bad. What? Should we fix our country? Orange Man. Whoa. Oh wait, Orange Man. Maybe we should do something about Orange Man. Wait, what? Oh no. Okay. You know, there's crackheads at your door. That's terrible. But Orange Man. Well, that's worse. Let's do something about the Orange Man. Well, what's the Orange Man doing to you? Well, he said mean stuff. But the crackheads are knocking at your door. I think they might break in. Well, I mean, that can wait. Orange Man. He said bigly. He says things like bigly and frankly and huge. How can we put up with that? We got to do something about it. No, Orange Man, by the way, is doing something about it. And so is JD Vance. And the more I hear about JD Vance, the more I like this guy. I like the guy. I like him. In fact, you know what's funny? Like I talk to people that like Donald Trump in Canada a bunch, and like I'll be walking around. I'll see. I went through a kiosk in North Vancouver, And this guy, he had these signs. They were incredible signs. They shapeshift as you walk by them. And he had a Donald Trump one. And I'm like, I love the fact that you openly have a Donald Trump one. He's like, yeah. People get upset with me. They get upset with me, and they turn the sign around and stuff every time they walk by. And I said, well, let me buy it. I'll buy it from you. And he's like, easy. And then I told him about the channel and what I do and all that stuff. And so he gave me another like freebie. I gotta show you the sign. You guys will love this. It's actually like framed. It's in a frame. This is amazing. So this is the Make America Great Again Donald Trump holographic sign. It's so cool. I absolutely love this thing. And I have this over here off to the side for all those people. They nobody comes to my house. But I want to put this in the main studio when I get to my new place. That'll be great. That'll be fantastic. But yeah. So as I was walking out, he's like, "Hey, no, I'm gonna throw this one in." He gave me this little freebie. This one. I absolutely love this. What a dude. Just like, bruh, if you got the courage to be out there and supporting this, tip of the hat to you, brother. Tip of the hat to you, brother. So I gotta say that. But I'm also a big fan of JD Vance because I'm learning more about him. I didn't know who he was until he was nominated, or Donald Trump chose him as his VP choice. Giselle, thank you so much for becoming a member. That's awesome. Welcome to the clan, I guess. Are we a clan? Are we? What are we? What are we, folks? In the chat, are we a clan? Are we a group? Are we? What are we? We're a troop. Welcome, Giselle. Really appreciate that. Thank you for joining the Clyde clan. Clydestria. How do you say that? Or the Clydesters. A cult. Oh, there it is. Julian. Oh, thanks for chiming in. A gaggle. We're a committee. The clan of Clyde. Nonetheless, JD Vance was on Laura Ingraham, and this one got my attention because it was very much what I was thinking about things that need to be done in Canada. Now, for those that don't know, in DC, crime has gotten so bad, and it is federal jurisdiction. Washington, DC. Crime has gotten so bad, the police, they just don't even do anything about it. And it's Democrat run. It's been Democrat run for a very long time. And Trump said, you know what? I'm taking charge. It's federal jurisdiction. I'm going to take charge. I'm going to put the National Guard in DC and let's see what happens. And then give everybody the idea of what they could do in their towns. Like, I don't know, the worst places in America, New York, Chicago, Detroit, LA. Perhaps you can figure out something along these lines. Here we go.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for having us here today.
Good to see you.
So you had quite an eventful morning
We did.
over at Union Station, as we saw in that clip. Tell us about how you decided to go over there. You know, a lot of us DC residents and former DC residents know it well, but it's been the site of a lot of crime in recent years.
Of course.
And you decided to pay a visit. What happened?
Well, so a couple things. So first of all, I had heard from a couple of friends who used to avoid Union Station because there were vagrants and there were crazy people screaming at kids, that they avoided Union Station. But over the past 9 days, since the president did this emergency order, it looks a lot better. It feels a lot safer. So I was talking with Stephen Miller and with Pete Hegseth about this in the Oval Office yesterday. And I was like, you know, we should just go over.
I'm sorry, I don't get starstruck, but to hear somebody say like, yeah, I was talking with Miller and Hegseth, and we were just chatting. I'm like, I want to be in these people's circles, man. That's pretty rad. But anyway, here's what they were talking about.
over there and say hello to people. And you've got a lot of National Guardsmen over.
By the way, if you don't know who he is,
it's 9 days since the president did this emergency order. It looks a lot better. It feels a lot safer. So I was talking with Stephen Miller and with
Stephen Miller, this guy, he's right here. I'm gonna point my pointer right here. Stephen Miller. He was the press secretary for a while back in the first Trump presidency. Absolutely love this guy. He's hilarious because he's just straight up to the point. But I always get this like vibe that he doesn't like wearing suits because he's always got the suit on, but he always does this thing when he's talking where he's always like trying to like get out of the collar. I don't know. If you've seen it, let me know. If you know what I'm talking about, let me know. He's fantastic, but it seems like he just does not like being in a suit. He just always like looks like he feels uncomfortable in it. But yeah, it's just too funny. Anyway, back to this.
With Pete Hegseth about this in the Oval Office yesterday, and I was like, we should just go over there and say hello to people. And you've got a lot of National Guardsmen over there, some DC cops who have been heckled by some of the protesters. So I thought, what a good show of moral support to have the vice president and some of the senior team at the White House show up. We bought him some burgers, hang out with him a little bit. And actually, the most interesting thing, Laura, was after the cameras left, Pete and Steve and I stayed and, had lunch with these troops and just learned a lot about what they're seeing, about how much the city has changed in just the past 9 days. So crazy statistic. Violent crime has dropped in D.C. 35% in 9 days.
Can you believe that? 35% in 9 days. Crime has dropped 35% in 9 days. They were like the murder capital of America. And all of a sudden, not happening. Why? Because I don't know. If you commit a crime, you'll be held responsible because somebody will take you and put you in a cage. Like that's how it works. You commit a crime, off the street into the cage you go. And we figure out how long that's gonna be, and that's what the justice system is. Let's do more of that. In Canada, we don't do that. If they do catch you, it's like, oh, go look at that cage for a second, and then the judge will tell you, you don't want to come back because you might get in there, and then they'll say, but get it back out on the street so you can commit more crime. And then when I see you again, I'll scold you again and point at the cage again, but I'll never put you in it.
Robberies in D.C. have dropped 55% in 9 days. And it highlights the fact that this living with lawlessness and disorder, that's fundamentally a question of political will. Mm-hmm. If you've got the political will to enforce the law, you can make even cities like D.C. safe again. And that's what we're demonstrating. And I hope that the American people take an important lesson from this, because obviously D.C. is a federal city. New York, L.A., these places are not. I hope the American people just...
Yeah, no murder in 2 weeks in D.C. It is a surprise. It's unbelievable. What's that? Miller's next shift is when he really goes off on Dems. Yeah, he does it. Oh man, I'm just not comfortable in this suit, but man, I like going after these Dems. Dallas Wells for 5 says, just enforcing their laws. Wish we looked after our charter like that. No kidding. We should look after our charter, and we should look after our neighborhoods. What is the policing? Why are our police more focused on reclassifying firearms instead of, legally owned firearms, instead of just going after bad guys that have already illegal ones? By the way, Discord link, G-Meister just put that in there. Just scrolled by. Make sure you click on that. Join us in the Discord after the live stream. We'll get on over there. I think probably after this bit with this, so get on over there. The Discord link, by the way, is only available during the live streams here on Fridays, so join, or you have to wait a whole other week. The links expire. Then you'll be bored. You'll be late on a Friday night. You're like, what do? I'm bored. I want to go talk to people, and I can't. Dang it, I should have done it. I should have joined. So yeah, don't regret it. Click that link.
just recognize that you don't have to live with lawlessness. You don't have to live with third world murder rates. If you just take control of these cities, you can make them safe places to live in.
So your pal Gavin Newsom calls this an abuse of power, that this is just a power grab, and this is all stunt for show, and that you all are going to roll through other cities. You've heard things about, it's martial law is going to be declared.
Yep,
and to that you say?
Well, first of all, how is it a power grab or how is it a stunt when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days?
And no martial law has been declared. There's no curfews, there's none of that stuff. They're not suspending civil liberties or anything like that. They're just a presence. That's the thing. When there's a presence of an authority and people who have the right, they've been deputized as police to come in and stop criminals, then people get nervous about committing crimes. Hey, what do you know? What do you know? Hey, if criminals don't think they're gonna get away with crime, they won't commit crime. Wow, concept, mind blown. Absolutely. North 49 RC for 5 says, why do judges in Canada think that perpetrators have more rights than victims? No. See, that's not the thing. It's not the thing. What it is that they think that they should prosecute them both equally. And that's lopsided. That's absolutely lopsided. If you break into someone's home at 3 a.m. or whatever time, break into someone's home, period, and you have a weapon and your intent is bad, yeah, throw the book at that guy. Throw the book at that guy. If you got beat up, oh, that sucks for you, man. You went into that house and you got beat up? Dang. Anyway, B&E charge. You know what I mean? That's it. But when you throw the book at the person that beat him up too, that's where the problem is. That's where the disconnect is that the criminal prosecution system in Canada is looking at the victim and the perpetrator on equal grounds. And they're looking at the victim and anything that they've done in that self-defense scenario as like, well, you did break the law there, so let's go after you the full extent of the law. No. Somebody is the instance that we were talking about, the instance in Lindsay, Ontario. The guy broke in with he had a crossbow. And apparently, this is what I'm hearing through word of mouth and all these other things, is that the guy woke up, he heard a ruckus, and he went out into the main room or whatever, living room, kitchen area, kitchenette, and he turned on his phone light, and it was his phone light that alerted the perpetrator to come over, and instead of shooting him with a crossbow, hit him in the head with the buttstock, which started the confrontation. Now, during the kerfuffle or whatever happened, the guy reached and managed to grab at a knife or something, and then some injuries ensued. Why would you ever prosecute the guy that was in his own home at 3 a.m.? You telling me that, like, you wake up and you got to wake up and like think like, okay, well, the law states that given this circumstance, this would be reasonable force. Okay, well, let me walk out. And like, you're groggy. You don't know what's going on. You don't even know what's happening. You get hit. You just hear a noise. Maybe you thought it was a raccoon, but then a person hits you, and now you're in a combative environment, and you're doing whatever you can to protect yourself, your family, and your property. And I don't care what Canadian government says or anybody. You have a fundamental right to your property. Absolutely. So, yeah, no. When the police show up and they go, oh, yeah, that guy got stabbed the hell out of him. Oh, shucks. Guess you shouldn't have walked in on this property. Anyway, book him, you know? Oh, he's got to go to the hospital? Okay, well, make sure he's in cuffs when he goes on his way. Before they release him to us. you're free to go, sir. North 49 RC for 5 says our system is seriously broken. We need a new government. Why don't people see this? I don't know. I don't know. I've been screaming from the hilltops, my man. You and me both. We're on the same thing. I happen to think that balkanization is the approach. Check out my video from this morning. I don't want to get into it now. Let's get back to Vance.
How many people are living and breathing today because Donald Trump had the willpower to say, you know what, we're sick of D.C. being a home to lawlessness. We're going to bring some public order back to the nation's capital.
Absolutely.
So what I would say to Gavin Newsom or to anybody else in some of these big blue states or big blue cities is you can have law and order, you can have common decency, you can have public spaces that young families can go to again. I'll tell you a story, Laura. A couple of years ago, the last time I was in Union Station, I took my little kids there to get lunch, and they were being screamed at by homeless people, not compassionate to the homeless people to let them just fester when they clearly have mental health problems, not compassionate to young families to not be able to go into one of America's great public spaces without being screamed at by a person clearly suffering
Why are Democrats
from a mental
doing
illness.
this?
I don't know.
Why is this a
don't
political
know.
strategy for
Laura,
them?
I have thought about this so often and so many times. I don't know why Democrats seem to love public disorder and chaos almost as a political ideology. And I think that part of what's going on is Democrats have gotten so divorced from the communities that they allegedly serve that they don't realize the gross majority of residents in D.C., they want to walk through Union Station and just have a bite to eat or enjoy the space with their families. They don't realize that so many people have been absolutely terrorized by Democrat crime policies. And so maybe they just don't make the connection between what Gavin Newsom says and the fact that places like D.C. or Los Angeles have some of the highest murder rates in the world.
And the D.C. police are being investigated for potentially manipulating their crime data. I've heard this from other police.
Oh, this is a great point. They're manipulating the crime data so it doesn't look so bad. It's kind of like manipulating the, because we talk about this a lot on the channel here between myself, Marty, other guests that come on, Mark Nixon. He's obviously talking at length about this on his own channel. And it's the manipulation of data to make the economy look good. Well, in the U.S., you have this as well, where they manipulate the data to make the crime stats look good, even though they're through the roof. It's crazy in these Democrat-run cities.
Forces across the country, great cops, beat cops in places like Chicago have said, some of the crimes are reclassified to make a burglary something that's more of a disturbance, and that kind of stuff happens. But is this a federal issue at this point, if this is a manipulation of data and if it's widespread?
Well, it's certainly something that's being investigated, and I hope that we'll uncover what's going on. But even aside from any manipulation of data, when you have 911 wait times that are so long, a lot of crime doesn't even get reported. And we heard this all the time. People would say, well, my home's being robbed. I'm not even going to call the police because it's going to be 45 minutes before they show up. And that's not an indictment of the beat cop, by the way. They're so overwhelmed by how much violent crime there is that they're unable to actually bring public safety to these communities. So
you gotta love this, man. Like the guy really, he's on the level, because he's not saying that the guy who trained up to be a cop and is doing his best, he's trying to get out there and do his thing. He's saying that those people are tied up. They can't do what they're doing. Whether it's, they have to file all this paperwork because of bureaucratic crap, or they just can't respond to all of the different complaints, all of the different crimes. Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Well, it's because of a bad policy. The policy is bad in the first place. So you obviously can't blame the beat cops, but when people are not even reporting crimes, because they're like, well, why even bother? For one, the cops aren't going to do anything. And two, after the fact, then I'm going to have to answer a bunch of questions, and I'm going to have those like personal stuff that I'm going to have to tell them. Forget it. I don't even want to deal with that.
What we're doing is just changing the balance a little bit. We're putting more good guys on the streets, and we're taking more bad guys off the streets. And we think that's the sort of thing that's going to bring public safety back to D.C. Again, it's already working in a very big way.
Now, on to Ukraine. Your February meeting with Zelensky.
All right. Well, that's for another topic for another day. Let's talk. Oh, man. I'd love to bring this over to the Discord. You guys are fantastic. Brenda Weeb, good to see you again. JD Vance is talking about the root causes. Absolutely. That's what he's talking about. He's getting to the root of the problem. And I love it. I love it. I think that Donald Trump is doing a fantastic job, whether it's the economy, it's crime, it's a myriad of different issues, dealing with Democrats, draining the swamp. We're seeing it. We're seeing it. It's happening in real time. But I mean, there's only so much we can talk about in one live stream. We've already been going for almost 3 hours now. So this has been a marathon. Wow. Awesome. Just myself tonight and you guys. Well, I guess it's not myself when it's with you guys. So thanks everybody for coming out. If you didn't get the link to the Discord, it is right there. Join us. We're going to be heading on over there to chat with everybody who's interested in coming in. The Discord link is only available, there it is again, is only available on Friday nights during the live stream. You can join us in the Discord, chat with everybody. It's a community, so you can use it all week, every week, all the time. It's just we keep it to the Friday live streams, and the reason why is because there's a lot of trolls that want to get in. If we keep that link open, if we allow the link to not expire, people will share it around and you never know where it goes. We had these situations before. The Discord got filled up with trolls and bots and all that stuff. We've cleared it all out since. It took a while to build it back up, but now it's coming back to a pretty vibrant community of people that are really interested in talking about these issues, these subjects, all of these different things. And I welcome you guys to come join. Obviously, we have a set of rules. It's not free speech zone. It's you're joining somebody in their living room. So expect to have the rules of like being in somebody's living room, that kind of thing. You don't want to be rude to everybody. The host is going to say, sorry, you're going to have to go. And that's why it's so welcoming, because we do moderate it and we make sure that people are just not rude to each other. So come on over if you're into it. Again, there's the link right there. Get on over and we'll see you guys in there. If we don't see you, it's a long weekend and I'm going to take that. But stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you got the notification bells and all that stuff rung. If you watch the shorts, you may have noticed I've been putting a lot more shorts on the channel. Shorts are great. Drives engagement. It's been bringing a lot of people back. So join those and just have a look at those. If you enjoy shorts, have a look at those. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully they pop up in your algorithm. And we'll see you all Tuesday? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. See you all then. Everybody, keep on trucking.